It is, and Elk City, of course, a familiar foe to start out with for both squads. Obviously, an area team that you get to see a couple times throughout the year at most seasons, and they'll bring some good tests as well. Of course, starting with this girls matchup, looking at it on the Elkette side of things, still led by head coach Sean Ham. Been here quite a few years, and it continues to trudge along. And the story for this Elkette team is going to be interesting. They returned 4 of 5 starters from last year's team. Now, you look at last year's team, they only went 14 and 15, Eric, but to end their season, their last 20 games, they were 13 and 7 of those games, made a run to the area tournament, and that was after starting 1 and 8. So you finish the season like that, you bring back the talent you do. This has the recipe to be a very competitive Elk City team from the gate for Coach Ham.
Yeah, and that, you know, those kids got that experience. They got that taste of winning on a regular basis. You know, there's winning a game here and there, you know, but until you start doing it on a, you know, consistent basis, you don't really get that taste and the confidence to know that you can do it. And that's what the Elk City girls team did last year.
They did for sure on the Boomer side of things. 11 and 16 last year. They're entering their 3rd year under Coach Lacey Moore, as far as head coach Lacey Moore, and nearly got out of regionals. Kind of had a good little regional tournament after struggling a little bit down the stretch. Some injuries kind of played a factor in that. And quite frankly, they just couldn't find the offensive touch. I remember talking to Coach Moore last year during that time, and we were both like, man, the team's getting great looks. They just couldn't get the ball to go into the hoop. And in the regional tournament, they finally found a little bit of that, pulled off some good wins, and ultimately fell short against Weatherford, but still had a good close to the season. Lose a few seniors, a few good ones. Jocelyn Treese, Riley Moore, Lily Luckett, kind of the main 3 you lose there. But you bring back Bradley Douglas Fisher, who we know what she could do, multi-sport star. Lexi Mendel, who continues, you know, seemingly year by year to really up her ante. Very competitive girl is Lexi. Another multi-sport star. Kaylee Mills, who I'll go ahead and break the news now. It's not going to be a secret, but she's going to be out probably at least a few games to start the season. Suffered a wrist injury in between softball and basketball. Was trying to do some camp, and unfortunately suffered that injury while trying to do softball camp. She'll be back sooner rather than later, but she will miss the first few games. And after that, you got, you know, some promising sophomores, Taylor Floyd, Bailey Nelson, who saw some time last year and continued to increase their load. And you bring back a singer like Michelle Barrow, who we know can provide good toughness down low in the post, and a new face that, you know, Coach Moore has mentioned to me, kind of Ava Miller. Didn't play last year, but is back now as a junior and will help their guard depth a bit. So it's a team, Eric, where you could see some good pieces. I mean, the big 3, if you will, of Riley Douglas Fisher, Lexi Mendel, and Kaylee Mills. That's a pretty good 3 to start with. And if you get the right supporting cast, this could be a girls team that I think at times could surprise people.
Yeah, I think, you know, the one thing, and you're going to hear this also during the boys broadcast, but, you know, the boys are kind of a little bit different spot with some of their new pieces. But, you know, we saw it last year where there just wasn't a consistent score. You didn't have that person that you're going to rely on to go out and just lead the team in scoring. Everybody else kind of fills in the roles, things like that. You know, and so the Boomers are going to need to find somebody that can step up and do that. I think you're going to see Bailey Nelson's going to get into the mix a lot more this year and things like that. So, you know, is somebody going to be able to take over that role as the scorer? You know, but we know these girls are going to come out and they're going to work hard and they're going to play hard. So, you know, that's the first couple games will just be interesting to see them kind of get that chemistry together, because you lost some chemistry from last season, especially with Riley and Jocelyn.
Yeah, absolutely. Those two, Jocelyn and Riley, great connection. They had great friends as well. And that's not easy to replace, no doubt about it. Well, the boys JV game has finished up. The girls entering the court, starting to get their warm-up rolling. And we'll step aside for our pregame break. Come back, get you deeper into the matchup between the Boomers and the Elkettes as we go forward to the first basketball action of the 2024-25 season. You're listening on Z92 and Boomer TV.
Western Oklahoma, we've been a cornerstone of the community since 1908. Being locally owned and operated, we understand the values and the culture that define Western Oklahoma. From supporting local farmers to helping small businesses thrive, we take pride in offering personalized banking solutions that reflect our deep understanding of Western Oklahoma. Discover the difference of a bank that's been by your side for generations. Bank of Western Oklahoma, member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Back on the show as we get ready for the Boomers take on the Elkettes of Elk City for our first basketball action this season. And we're talking about all the pieces that the girls brought back and, trying to fit some of those in. Well, look at the Elk City side of things. We mentioned returning 4 or 5 starters. As far as their individuals, you're definitely going to have to watch tonight. It all begins with the senior guard, Abby Brown. She enters the year already a member of the 1,000-point club, averaged 15 a game last year as a junior. On top of that, Campbell Garbarino, solid depth as well at the guard position. Kaz Ulrich is very tough down low as a center. Lucy O'Hara as well, a good strong supporting cast there around her. And I think one of the X factors tonight, when you look at it, is the senior Ella Sotilli. She is committed to play softball at SNU. We've seen her on the softball field. We know she's a good athlete. And for this Elk City team, especially down the stretch last year, she had a lot of big moments where she would kind of come out of nowhere, score a quick 5, 7, and get them back into the game. She could hustle. She could work. So they offer a pretty, well, what I imagine, Eric, to be a very solid starting 5 unit.
Yeah, and, especially when you have those players who have the experience. You talked about, the experience that they have, bringing back most of their girls from last year. And, they've got 2 sport athletes that, know that, every sport's different. And there's a different mentality for every sport, but sometimes you got to switch the mentality from what you know and add it onto the basketball court, so they can all just add different things. And so, Elk City's going to be a tough squad coming out here first, but it's also going to be a good test for the Boomers to kind of say, we know where we need to be because we're going up against a team who already knows what their identity is.
Absolutely, and it'll be curious to see how that plays out. We'll touch on a couple of other notes, Ventures, before we start talking a little bit about the boys on the way down to that matchup. Do want to let you know the Boomer Coaches Show returns tomorrow night. I know Eric is excited. He's missed it over the break. Had a little bit of a break there between football and basketball. We'll be back at Long Shots tomorrow for the Coach Show. Catch up with, of course, both the boys and girls basketball teams. Get some thoughts from tonight, kind of preview that Weatherford matchup. That will be Friday night. They'll be going to Weatherford. Tough Eagles, Lady Eagles squads. Marley Teasley, CJ Nixon can be ones to watch. Of course, the Sage Twins, Walker Kennedy. That boys team could be tough. The girls are pretty good too, but that'll be another tough matchup as well to kind of get them into the season. And then as far as other sports, wrestling, Boomer Wrestling this week, first home duel of the season, Thursday night against Watongan. It's not just high school, middle school as well participating in that. And Eric, I think I could speak for both of us where I wish I could be there. I got some football to do, but that's a great atmosphere. If you're around Woodward, you need to go check that out Thursday night for the wrestling school.
Yeah, absolutely. Those kids need a lot of support, just because it's kind of a sport that gets overlooked a lot anyways, but the Boomer wrestlers, we've got kids who are going to be competing, at state level this year. I really believe so. I know Coach Weatherhead thinks that. So, there's a lot to be excited about around Boomer Wrestling. They're actually in action right now down in Oklahoma City at OKC Douglas. So, it's going to be a fun year, I think, or a fun winter around the winter sports at Woodward.
Yeah, that wrestling squad as well, both on the girls and boys side, meddling in tournaments and competition, not just, getting first, but a lot of seconds, thirds. They're doing a phenomenal job, is that wrestling squad. And goodness, 15 freshman girls wrestling this year, and they've got some real talent there as well. Need to check them out Thursday night when they come home for that first home duel. And then OU men tonight, they would be on Z92, but we got Boomer basketball, so we're kind of preempting them a little bit. They're hosting Georgia Tech in the SEC ACC Challenge. That doesn't tip off till 8 o'clock, so maybe later on the boys game we'll kind of take a peek at that OU basketball score, kind of get you updated here and there on that. Otherwise, road to the top this week, a doubleheader. Thursday, state championship at University of Central Oklahoma on K101 with Laverne and Dewar squaring off for the Class B Division I title. Then Friday night, it's Sealing coming to Douglas in Cashion for the Class B Division II semifinal matchup. Winner of that will go on to the state championship, which would be next week. So we'll have that over on K101 this week for you as well. So before we get to the starting lineups, national anthem, do want to touch on the boys real quick, and we'll, go into deeper detail once we get to that game. But Eric, we kind of alluded to it. This boys roster for is returning nearly everybody. You lose one starter in Ethan Neal. You had a couple other seniors that unfortunately didn't play a ton, one by injury, the other just, it was a deep roster. So you bring back guys like Carter Reed, Aaron Laredo, Gage Hutchins. You're going to bring back Connor Sutherland. I mean, you've got size, you've got some experience now. It's completely different than what we saw last year. And you throw on top of that a potential dynamite freshman in Caden Gaines.
Yeah, I think, we've got Connor Sutherland, we've got a little bit of size, but I think overall that's kind of where we may lack a little bit, is just being undersized. But we now, like last year, the girls had the same, really the same issue. There was not a consistent score. We had great athletes, we had people that could do things, but we didn't have that one go-to person. Now it feels like that Boomer squad has added that go-to person, and that's also going to allow other things to shine within all these other guys that are coming back, and they have the experience. You think a freshman, well, he doesn't have the experience. Caden's played a lot. Caden's played high level tournaments, things like that. So he has the experience. He's going to go out there and ball. So I think, there's a lot to be excited about on the boys' side. And I like the fact that now we have pieces too. We have people you can put in different places. I think you're going to see a lot of up and down the floor, fast break basketball. So it's going to be a fun year for the Boomer boys.
And while the boys may be a bit more up pace compared to the girls, and talking with both coaches heading into the season, both Coach Moore and Coach Gaines, the message is the same. I think they want to be defensively minded, first and foremost, intense, when it creates pressure, lead to that easy offense. And we got some of the athletes they do on both sides of that, Eric. That makes sense, right? You want to take advantage of that.
Yeah, and, both coaches came from kind of defensive backgrounds as far as, who they played with in high school, as far as their coaches. And I know Coach Gaines, when she went to Texas, they had a very defensively minded coach there. And so the defense part of it is just getting ingrained into what they want to do as far as their coaching philosophy. So.
And as we look to the matchup now, those keys to the game for the girls' side, I'll start with you're not going to stop Abby Brown. We mentioned 15 points a game last year. Expect her to be there with that production, if not better this year. But can you force her off her game enough where she has to take a lot of shots to get to that number? That's a big question I got for the girls in this one. And who steps up with Kaylee Mills out? Who's able to kind of fill that hole? Is it a Michelle Barrow? Because Kaylee, as we know, fire competitor. She's tough. She's mean. She can get after it. And you're going to need some of that this year for this Boomer basketball squad.
Yeah, I think that's also kind of like I mentioned on the boys. In some ways, we're undersized. We don't have that dominant post player necessarily yet. There's some girls that we can see growing into that spot. But, that's where I think, if you're going to see some growth, especially early in the season, that's an area you want to see it in.
Absolutely it is. And, outside of those things, I think the question for both of these teams coming into this game is the overall depth, right? We mentioned the frontline type girls and, what they could do, and both of them have a lot of talent. But the depth is, I think, the big question for both these teams. Who's going to have the deeper benches and be able to find maybe some of those X factors? Is that how you're picturing as well, Eric?
Definitely, and I think a lot of it goes back to, we do, the varsity girls team for the Boomers, there's not a lot of numbers necessarily. And so can those other girls, when they come off the bench, because, especially you're playing an athletic Elk City team, they've got a lot of girls sitting there, is when they come off the bench, are they going to be able to kind of keep anything that's going on? Because sometimes you might have momentum, but you need to bring somebody off to just give them a minute break or something like that. So when you come off that bench, you've got to be able to be prepared to at least be able to keep any of that going.
Definitely want those good minutes from the bench, no question about that. Of course, do want to thank these amazing sponsors for Boomer Basketball, Boomer Sports in general, Pioneers, Just Wells, Bank of Western Oklahoma, and High Plains Tire. They are absolutely fantastic, powering Boomer Sports all season long. And also, Boomer TV live streaming with us, Chris Godwin and the crew, so check that out as always. We'll have that for you. Best of both worlds, as we always like to say. And both teams finishing their warm-ups here. Good little atmosphere in Elk City, the Pioneer Center, and good little court. But I think the Boomers will be ready to come home next Thursday when they get to that winter tournament. They'll start on the road 3 nights in a row, if you will, to begin things this week. We mentioned here and then Weatherford, and they go to Anadarko next Tuesday. So Boomers going to flex their road muscles. They're going to try to at least to begin the season. And of course, getting ready for the national anthem, and we'll have the starting lineups carried for you as well momentarily. Boomer's going to be wearing the road black uniforms, the black jersey shorts, the gold trimming around the shoulders and down the shorts, and then the white numbers and text trimmed in gold. Elk City is going to be kind of that home maroon, or home white, excuse me, if you will, with the maroon trimmings and white numbers and text. And now we'll take you courtside for the national anthem.
Starting lineups for your Elk City Club Nets. Wearing number 5, the sophomore, Campbell Barbarico. A sophomore wearing number 10, Lucy O'Hara. A senior wearing number 22, Ella. Sophomore wearing number 23, Kathy Coffey. And the senior wearing number 30, Abby Brown.
And there's your starting lineups for both squads. For the Boomers, it was Lexi Mendel, Ava Miller, Taylor Floyd, Bradley Douglas Fisher, and Bailey Nelson. For Elk City, they'll get Campbell, Garbarino, Kaz Ulrich, Abby Brown, Lucy O'Hara, and Ella Sotilli. The starting five for the Elkettes. As we mentioned, Elk City wearing their home white uniforms, got the deep maroon, if you will, for the numbers, and some of the trimming, white elsewhere. Now, who do you go with the jump for the Boomers here? Do you go Bradley Douglas Fisher or you go Lexi Mendel? Looks like maybe Bradley.
Yeah, I mean, Lexi's right in the middle of the circle. It is going to be Bradley, it looks like. I think they're all still trying to figure out exactly who it's going to be, too. But
Boomers are going to go right to left in front of us, which we are behind the scorer's table up a bit. And Elk City work left to right in this first half. As both teams in the center will be Bradley Douglas Fisher trying to jump against Campbell Garbarino, the sophomore. As the official steps to the middle, puts the ball in the air, and we are underway in the Boomer basketball season as the ball loose off Bailey Nelson to begin play, and it will go to Elk City. Got knocked away on the jump. So the Elkettes will have the first possession, just underway, 7:56 in the first quarter. As the inbound will go to Brown. The ball handle pressed tightly as Brown by the Boomer defense as they go in to trying to get that full court press. Brown breaks it, dips it down low underneath Garbarino, kicks it over to Sotilli, out for a jumper along three, just rims out. That one taken by Lucy O'Hara. Boomers take down the rebound. As it'll be Bailey Nelson, float up right wing, high. Taylor Floyd goes top of the key to Mendel. Mendel with the one-on-one. Goes left wing to Nelson as they swing it around the perimeter now. Boomers trying to get set in the offense. Douglas Fisher takes on the right wing. She's guarded tightly, poked at, stolen away by the Elkettes, and Ella Sotilli pitches ahead, layup off the left side, no good by O'Hara. Boomers climb away with rebound, still 0-0 with 7 minutes to go first quarter, and a nice fast break, leads 10-1 for Lexi Mendel. The assist by Bradley Douglas Fisher. Mendel on the right block, put it off the glass, through the contact, and the Boomers on the board first to start the season.
I think that's exactly what the Boomers are going to need to do. You know, a lot this year is, you know, how are they going to be in transition? That was a great job right there by the Boomers.
And they do get Abby Brown on the foul. And the free throw is good. So 3 points for the Boomers and Lexi Mendel to begin the first quarter. And on the other side, Elk City ball knocked away out of bounds. Boomers stay on defense as Elk City will have to inbound it from their deep corner. As will be Sotilli throwing it in right in front of the Boomer bench. Gets it up near the timeline to O'Hara. Takes it right wing. She attacks into the paint. Kicks out on the baseline to Sotilli as they work back up top. Now around to O'Hara on the right baseline. She gets a bit trapped up. Batted. Stolen away. No, not stolen away by Mendel. Brown comes up with it. Finds a wide open Sotilli on the left block. And Elk City makes it work for their first point. As the Boomers turn it over on the inbound, or the press, I should say, but it was tipped out of bounds by the Boomers. So Elk City with a quick turnaround will have another crack at it offensively. Boomers lead 3-2, 6:32 remaining first quarter. As on the baseline inbounding will be Sotilli, left side. Goes out high, top of the key to O'Hara. High left, or excuse me, that's Brown, high left wing. Now she'll square it up at the top. As Boomers still into man defense. Near the free throw line, they get to Sotilli. She'll work it around. Garbarino puts up her first shot. That's an air ball short. Rebounded underneath and then swatted away by Taylor Floyd. The attempt looked like by O'Hara as Mendel comes up with it. Puts over to Floyd, right wing. She attacks the block. Double team there. Has to pick up the dribble and now fouled on that block. As Taylor Floyd stays strong. And they get Garbarino for her first foul.
Elk City's had a few opportunities now in the offensive end. You know, and these are just the early things that the Boomers going to have to do to clean up on the defensive side.
Mendel with the inbound. They'll swing it up top to Full. Get it back to Mendel right wing. She's nearly double teamed there. Has to pick up the dribble. Wanted it down low to Bradley Douglas Fisher. Throws it off her hands. Douglas Fisher tries to save it. Instead, Brown comes up with it, and her pass to O'Hara too strong. And it's back to the Boomers. So again, another instance where you're talking about with those chances. Neither team can take advantage. Boomers still lead 3-2, 5:51 first quarter. As they have possession, Nelson takes the inbound full court, guarded tightly by Brown. Has to go back to Floyd. Boomers trying to break that press. Floyd on the far side, trying to get it across the timeline. Her pass batted away out of bounds. It'll stay with Woodward. Oak City quick to try to force that trap. Is on the far side. It will be Floyd inbounding. 5:40 remaining first quarter, but we're still lead 3-2. Brown throws it, or Floyd, excuse me, throws it in the middle. Has the right wing in the corner. Goes to Douglas Fisher, launches the three, and that's nothing but net. Briley Douglas Fisher with her first basket. And a nice assist for Mendel as Boomers take the 6-2 lead. 5:25 first quarter. Oak City the other way. O'Hara pitches back, top of the key. Brown scores up for a deep three. She answers. Abby Brown nails one. And that's her first points, 6-5. Boomers still lead by one. Douglas Fisher the other way for the Boomers. Gets up to Nelson left wing. Back to Douglas Fisher. They'll swing it right side to Mendel. She's poked that, stolen away by O'Hara for Oak City. And then fouled full court nearly by Mendel is O'Hara. So Mendel picks up the first foul for the Boomers. 2 so far on Oak City in this first quarter. So the Elkettes keep possession. They trail 6-5. 5:01 remaining in the first quarter. Sotilli will look to inbound. Boomers with the press. They do get it into O'Hara, guarded by Bailey Nelson. And back to Sotilli, who now almost sees the double team as Floyd kind of lost her footing a little bit. Comes up limp. Get over left wing. As on the drive and kick was O'Hara out in the right corner. That goes to Kylie Coffey, who's at the ball game. Her shot awry underneath. Sotilli with a second chance. That's no good as well. Douglas Fisher comes away with the rebound, but her pass stolen away by O'Hara. She was falling to the ground. They work it to Brown, left wing for another three. That one just rims out. This time Douglas Fisher does secure the rebound, then gets fouled, trying to dribble out of it. Could have had an open Lexi Mendel. Lexi do it.
Yeah, but I mean, great job by the Boomers, especially Bradley Douglas Fisher, to, kind of stick with it, not get too rapid. A couple times it looked like, they wanted to go in transition really fast, but you can't go too fast, and she's kind of hung out around the basket and, was still able to give the Boomers opportunities to get rebound.
Ava Miller with the inbound for the Boomers, full court to Nelson as they lead 6-5. 4:25 remain first quarter. Nelson has to pick up her dribble off pressure from Garbarino. Coming in to be able to save it is Caitlin Colt. And now a timeout taken by the Boomers with 4:19 remaining in the first quarter as they lead 6-5. Salem State Bank now with the branch in Woodward at their new location, 2314 Williams Avenue. Salem State Bank Woodward branch offers full-service banking, including personal checking, savings, home and commercial loans, as well as mobile and online banking, wire transfers, and much more. M&D Enterprises Lawnmower Shop for your best lawn, porch, or patio. M&D Enterprises and Lawnmower Shop are your people. They carry everything you need to make your greenscape that little piece of heaven you have always dreamed of. Locations in Woodward, Canton, and Weatherford. M&D Enterprises Lawnmower Shop, Salem State Bank, Woodward branch, powering Boomer Sports this season. So 6-5, Boomers on top, 4:19 remaining in the first quarter out of the timeout. The Boomers will have the possession. Oh, some tough defense on that. Gets swatted away. Boomers still come up with it with Nelson. She's on the ground, though. Has to get out of it. No jump ball force. Possession error, I believe, gives it to Woodward. And it does. So 4:13 remain first quarter. Woodward again, 6-5 lead, but the pressure right now by Oak City put on. Finally, Mendel gets ahead to Douglas Fisher. Bounces over the Colt. Off the glass and in. And a bucket by Cole per first. And the Boomers extend their lead 8-5.
She's one to watch out for this year. She can add a lot to this Boomer team.
Colt, just a sophomore forward. Elk City trying to break the press of the Boomers. And ooh, almost a steal. They say a foul, but Coach Moore liking the effort by the Boomers as they're getting intense right now on Elk City.
Yeah, and that's again that was Caitlin Culp who, she saw a little bit of a loose ball. She dove on the floor to get it, and that's all you can ask. A lot of times players are scared to dive on the floor, just don't go as hard. And Culp didn't have any problem right there getting on the floor going after that ball.
Elk City on the inbounds underneath the basket. It'll be Sotilli out to Brown. Back to Sotilli inside. Tight defense forces the miss off the left iron. Does get her own rebound. Flips out to O'Hara. Steps back. Takes a three. Nobody pressuring her. That one's off the front of the rim. Rebound right down to Sotilli. Feeds it down to Garbarino baseline. They kick it out. Work it around to Brown. Left wing. Brown fakes the shot. Drives in. Spin move. Tough shot. That's wild. She was looking for the foul call. Didn't get it. Boomers with the board. Culp feeds over to Mendel, ahead to Douglas Fisher, trying to dump it down to Miller. That's stolen away by Garbarino. Elk City pushes back. They trail 8-5, 3:10 remaining first quarter as O'Hara drives, kicks left corner, three on the way. That's a little short. That one by Blakely Ball. Second chance, no good as well for Elk City with a collision underneath. Lexi Mendel as well as it looked like Sotilli clashing.
And this game's been sloppy early on. You kind of expect that a lot of times in the first few games, but you can't fault the Boomers for how hard they're working, that's for sure.
And they do get the possession off the loose ball and a couple of misses. It's be Miller inbounding to Mendel. She's instantly double teamed in the deep corner near side. Has tried dribble at it, feeds it back to Miller. Goes ahead to Nelson. Now they've got to try to get across the timeline and had to call another timeout. No
they got a foul.
Okay. Got a little bit of a break there, did the Boomers. As they will catch the foul on Olivia Williamson, the freshman. So that's her first. As it be the Boomers inbounding near side. Miller again, 2:55 remaining first quarter. Boomers lead 8-5 in what's been a defensive battle so far in the quarter. Colt gets it near midcourt, feeds it ahead to Miller. They do break the press, tries to spin into the paint, works out left wing to Floyd. Floyd has to pick up her dribble and finds Mendel. They'll set up the offense. 2:40 to go in the first quarter. Mendel driving the right side, feeds on the baseline to Douglas Fisher. Good entry pass. Douglas Fisher thought she drew the foul, not the case, but they're saying the block was out of bounds off Elk City. Good look though, like you mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great cut and great look to recognize that.
On the inbounds, they go to Douglas Fisher just below the free throw line. Her shot short. Colt the second chance off as well on the right side. And they say the Boomers the last touch as it goes out of bounds. So a couple chances just off there as it remains 8-5 in favor of Woodward. With 2:29 remaining first quarter. Elk City, though, with the possession. As Williamson looks to inbounds, throws it up to Brown. That's almost stolen away by Mendel. Brown collects it, throws it ahead. That's batted away by Culp yet again. It was intended for Lou White on the pass.
Yeah, you could tell. You could tell she's hungry. She's working hard out there. Sophomore getting your first real opportunity of varsity time. That's what you tell kids all the time. When you get on the floor, you just got to take advantage of what you get. And Caitlin's doing that right now.
So the inbound for Elk City as they keep possession. A long pass to Brown in the backcourt. As it went from Blakely Ball. Brown with a little behind the back dribble. She's double teamed though on the ground. Just has to flip it over to Garbarino right side. Now pressured by Douglas Fisher. Into the paint on the block. That's batted by Culp. The wild pass saved by Elk City to Garbarino on the wing. Drives baseline looking for some space and nothing there. And who else? Culp just a monster down in the paint right now.
I mean, overall, we talked about kind of early on the Boomer defense is struggling a little bit, kind of allowing Elk City to have opportunities. The Boomer defense has picked it up.
Hands are in the lane for sure. Elk City again looks to inbound it. Below the left block, time a tick, near a 5-second call, just has to throw it off the back. This is Garbarino Douglas Fisher. They work out for a three right side. That's off the mark. And Culp fighting for the rebound. Draws the jump ball. It stays with Elk City, but Culp again getting some good cheers from her side. It was Williamson on the three, the miss for Elk City. 2 minutes to go first quarter. Boomers lead 8-5. Elk City with possession. The inbound works its way to Williamson again, right corner for three. That one off the right side of the rim, bounces around and out, and last touch by Elk City. The Boomers finally get off the defensive side. All with good effort as they'll take the possession. Again, both teams pressing. Inbound goes to Nelson. Looking to Douglas Fisher near the timeline does. She flips ahead to Culp, nearly batted away, and her pass wild, stolen away by Brown, intended for Miller. And then a foul by Miller as Brown took it. So Abby Brown able to get Ava Miller to foul. 3 fouls, 4 threes and fouls, Elk City with more, so not necessarily bad in terms of the foul situation. And this O'Hara checks back in for Sotilli.
talked about that Boomer defense. Yeah, Elk City's still getting their shots up. Boomers got to do a little bit better job of rebounding. But hey, if they're not going to hit those shots, just let them take those outside shots as long as you're closing out. And, those are low percentage shots.
O'Hara driving into the paint from the top of the key. Nice little crossover. A floater, though, off the mark. And probably Douglas Fisher trying to wrestle that ball away. Jump ball force. Boomers keep the possession. I don't know if you're going to win a battle many times trying to rip a ball away from Bradley Douglas Fisher. The Boomers will have it. Inbounding to Floyd. To Nelson, who was the inbounder. Still in the backcourt. Goes ahead to Mendel. Almost out of bounds far side. Gets it to Culp. She's got it right wing. Feeds it to Douglas Fisher. 1:18 left first quarter. Douglas Fisher drives. The layup a bit wild from the right side. The rebound fought for Floyd. Tied up with O'Hara. And the possession arrow swings back to Elk City. So still an 8-5 game with the Boomers on top. Minute 13 left first quarter. Elkcats with the possession. As the inbound goes to O'Hara. She's guarded tightly by Nelson in the backcourt. She'll just flip it back to Ball. Ball goes left wing. Tries a bit of a quick pass. That's bad in the air and stolen by Nelson. Oh, interesting jump ball there they called. Nelson looked like she was clean. Boomers do have the possession error. Culp and Nelson forcing that turnover yet again. Still 8-5. Boomers on top in the defensive first quarter between the squads. As the inbound will go to Mendel. They'll work it over. Across the timeline to Floyd. She lines up top of the key, trying to start the offense. Flips it left side to Mendel. Seeking to attack. Steps back just outside the elbow. That a bit short. Rebound taken by Elk City. Mendel, though, racing in, trying to steal it away on the pass. And actually gets called for the foul. Bit of a frustration one there maybe for Lexi, trying to fly in.
Yeah, and sometimes you're gonna get fouls or hustle, things like that. But I think in that's one of those instances. Yeah, she hustled, but I think it was more the frustration of, just missed that shot, maybe rushed the shot a little bit, and went in there and got the foul.
40 seconds remains first quarter. Boomers lead 8-5. Elk City with possession. O'Hara driving left wing, and Culp just able to rip away from her. Gets on the ground, and then they say a travel on Culp as she was trying to come up and pass it. But still, Caitlin Culp again. What a first quarter for her defense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, for the Boomers early on, I feel like, within the first quarter of the first game, she's been the player of the game already.
See Michaela Stinnett, the senior, come in, take out Ava Miller for the Boomers. So it's Miller, Douglas Fisher, Stinnett, Douglas Fisher, Culp, Nelson, and Floyd. Inbound goes underneath. That shot affected. Lou Wyatt tried to take it. Elk City able to work around on the extra chance at three in the corner by O'Hara. Way off the mark, off the top of the backboard almost. Last touch, though, by the Boomers as they try to fight for the rebound underneath. 23 seconds remains in the corner. Elk City still with possession. Woodward leads 8-5. As it began bounded underneath the basket, left side, and offensive foul on Elk City. And they get Lou Wyatt for that one.
Yeah, I didn't see the foul. It was definitely, it wasn't anywhere near underneath, but they said she kind of hooked the girl that was on her. But, again, you're going to hear me talk about a lot rebounding. And that's one thing the Boomers got to do a little bit better on so far.
It goes back to that size advantage we talk about, or not advantage, but disadvantage they have most times. As Nelson works across the timeline, goes over on the right wing to Miller with 12 seconds. She's double teamed, has to get out of it. Does. Has the top of the key with 9 seconds. Still with the dribble, but pressured. 7 seconds. Right wing goes to Nelson, finding Douglas Fisher, right corner. He's up to 3. That's long and too far, and that's how we end the first quarter with the Boomers on top 8-5 after 1 over the Elk City Elkettes. We'll take a quick break. Listen to Boomer Basketball on Z92 KMZ FM Woodruff.
Feel safe and secure with Arlo Wireless Outdoor Camera, available at Pioneer. Arlo offers top-notch protection with crystal clear video quality, rain or shine. Monitor your home from anywhere with remote smartphone access. Whether you're at home or on the go, Arlo keeps you connected to what matters most. Trust Arlo and Pioneer to keep your home safe and secure. Visit GoPioneer.com to get your Arlo wireless cameras today.
We'll tackle an endless to-do list every day. It may seem like a thankless job, but you know better. It's the little things that matter most. That's why you appreciate the enduring value of the Michelin Defender tire. Designed for doers like you, Michelin's longest-lasting tire keeps you on the go longer, so you have one less thing to worry about on your next road trip. Stop in today for miles of uncompromised safety and performance. Visit your local Michelin dealer, High Plains Tire, at 2220 Main in Woodward.
Lead 8-5 on the side after the first quarter. And Eric, my goodness, what a physical first quarter that was for both teams.
Yeah, it's, it's very physical first quarter, but it's a lot of what we saw, I think, is, kind of, you even mentioned it, during the break for, our first broadcast, and there's a lot of getting shaking the rust off, and that's what both of these teams are going through right now. But the Boomers, they're showing a lot of heart early on, and you kind of hope that can carry on throughout the season.
As Oak City begins with possession, start the second quarter, it's Brown in the backcourt. Part of the title by Nelson. She works around her, right wing, dishes it. As they work it to the left side to Sotilli. Sotilli drives in baseline, puts up a bit of an awkward shot. Good defense by Miller. Forces that one out. They say a last touch by Miller on the block. So Oak City will continue with the possession. 7:44 remaining in the half. Woodward leads 8-5. Oak City on the inbound. Nearly turns it over, but Sotilli able to collect it. Has Brown in the right corner. Sits a screen for her. Brown trying to drive. Kicks out left wing. Three all the way by Coffey. That one rattles around and just rims out. No good. As the Boomers able to collect the board. And draw.
Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
No, Bailey, as she got the rebound.
Or stepped out.
Okay. She kind of came down and she lost her footing just briefly. She stepped out of bounds.
Had a bit of a head in the way. I couldn't quite see. Anyway, it's all the inbounds. Top the key. They'll move it around. As Brown takes it again, guarded Tyler by Nelson. Behind the back dribble. Comes up a little off, but collects it again as they reset. 7:15 to go in the first half. Boomers lead 8-5. Oak City trying to tie it up or pull within one as they work around the perimeter, nearly off the hands of Williamson. As they swing it back to Brown, right wing. Trying to dump it inside. Pass too long. It was intended for Presley DeLeon. As Nelson comes up with it for the Boomers, a jog across the timeline. Controlled pace. Goes Miller left wing. Looking for somebody flashing into the paint. That pass off the face of Taylor Floyd, who had worked around the screen and just couldn't handle the pass. I think she thought she was going to be open for a shot there.
Yeah, I think Taylor's a little frustrated with herself because it kind of hit her in the hands and went off her hands, off her forehead, and out of bounds. But, still a great job for her to, make that cut in a perfect spot and, even have that opportunity.
So 6:40 remains first half. Boomers still leading 8-5. Both teams struggling offensively, but it's been a physical game. Is on the right elbow. Yep. Yeah, a double dribble they'll call it. Almost could have called a hook.
I think that
there on Sotilli as she tried to use that arm to get around the defender.
Yeah, I didn't see the double dribble, but I did see the potential offensive foul because she definitely kind of hooked and extended that arm. And a lot of times that's, as soon as you extend, a lot of times that's an automatic offensive foul.
So the Boomers get it back off the double dribble. As B. Miller pitching at left wing to Floyd across the timeline. Back up top to Miller as they look to sit the offense yet again. On the right wing, Nelson has a bit of a dribble. Now attacks into the block. Pulls up for the shot. Foul all the way up. And Bailey Nelson just said, hey, I'll take the drive and see what I could get. And she draws the foul.
And that's one thing that, since watching Bailey, when I saw her for the first time as I guess it'd been a seventh grader. No, eighth grader. I saw Bailey play for the first time. But that's, she will definitely, when she has the opportunity, she will attack and, draw the foul.
First free throw just rims out. Went off the front of the rim. Back iron and popped out. So it remains 8-5. 6:13 remaining in the half. First foul of the quarter goes to Elk City. As Nelson's second free throw. This one just rims out to the left as well. Rebound fought for. It's actually able to come up with the DeLeon and pitches it ahead to Brown, who attacks right side on the block, driving a bit wild. Shot too strong. Out the left. Now it's a scramble on the floor. Garbarino comes up with it for Elk City. Her shot off to the right. And Elk City comes away with another board. They work it out to Brown for three, and it just pops out left side. And another offensive board for Elk City. DeLeon out to Brown again. This one too strong. Finally, the Boomers able to rip away the board as Floyd fights it away from DeLeon. The freshman DeLeon but she's got some height, and she's causing some early issues for the Boomers.
Yeah, again, just too many second chance opportunities for the Elcats. I think, you know, the Boomers, like I said, you know, they're pushing the ball out, so they're taking a lot of deep threes. You know, but whenever they miss them, you've got to get position, and the Boomers are not getting position right now for a rebound.
And Oak City does have some of that length. Garbarino, we mentioned De Leon, got some size. In terms of that, the Boomers do turn it over, try and get it across half court as the pass intended for Bradley Douglas Fisher. Had it for a moment, but couldn't corral it with tight pressure, so it's a turnover for the Boomers. As they give it back to Oak City with 5:30 left in the half. Woodward, though, still leading 8-5. It's been a scoreless second quarter so far for both teams. As it's Brown, top the key, trying to tackle Nelson. Gets the right block. The runner of the layup goes off the glass, sticks off the front of the rim. So Brown with 5 of the 7 for Elk City. They still trail by 1, 8-7. Nelson the other way for the Boomers. Fires a pass looking for Floyd. Way too high, and that's out of bounds. Oh, they say last tipped by Elk City.
Oh,
So
all right.
we'll take that break. Thought it was a turnover, not the case.
I'll take it. That's, you know, the Boomers early on, they're going to have to figure out how to break. It's not a full court press necessarily. It's
Right.
kind of a 2-2-1, but, you know, whenever they kind of get up there, they've got to be able to break that.
Nelson with a quick three off the inbound right side goes long, rebounded on the backside by Ford. They work back up to Nelson to reset. She's trying to drive, dribbles it off. Looks like an Elk City player picked up and stolen as they get it to Garbarino. And they'll swing it back out to Coffee, who goes top key. Brown open for 3 straight away. That's too long. She's been a bit off the mark. Rebound, though, again corralled by Elk City and O'Hara. And they'll say last touch actually by Elk City as Floyd able to pressure O'Hara, who was trying to collect the ball.
Yeah, Taylor kind of reached in there, popped it away, and as the ball kind of, your natural instinct is the ball's going out of bounds, you're reaching for it, and I think that's what Elk City did there.
Boomers keep the control with Miller taking the inbound pass, goes right wing to Douglas Fisher. Nice touch pass down to Culp, who collects and puts it off the glass, right block. That was a great touch pass by Bradley Douglas Fisher. Makes it 10-7. Boomers lead. Culp with 4 points early. Brown the other way quickly with the right wing jumper, and that falls. Finally gets one in. So Brown with 7 of the 9 for the Elcats. 4:10 remaining in the first half. 10-9 to score. Boomers with possession of the lead. Douglas Fisher goes top to key. Floyd, she launches the 3, that goes. Taylor Floyd steps into it and nails one. Her first basket of the season. Boomers up 13-9. O'Hara on the right wing for the Elcats. Top key to Brown. She short arms the straightaway 3, but right underneath to collect it was Sotilli. As they'll work it around back up top to Brown, or excuse me, that was Coffee. Now to Brown, drives right wing, goes for the layup and gets the and one. Took some contact as that one kissed off the glass, stuck on the rim for a couple seconds, and finally fell.
Yeah, as she drove, I believe this foul's going to be on Taylor Floyd. If you're looking for the official, that it is. As she drove, Taylor kind of bodied her up a little bit, gave her just a little bit of a nudge as she went up for the layup, and unfortunately the ball went in as well. I mean, I've told kids many times where if you're going to foul, you make sure they miss it.
Right.
You know, and
give them their money's worth, right?
Yep.
So the free throw from Brown does fall. She's got 10 of the 12 for the Elcats. Still, the Boomers lead 13-12. Trying to break that pressure. One-arm pass by Miller floats over into the Elcat bench, intended for Culp. Will be out of bounds back to Elk City. 3:36 remaining in the half. Boomers hold on to a 1-point lead, 13-12. There's Brown on the inbound, calmly across the timeline, dribbles it. Goes left wing to Sotilli again, kind of extending that arm, so you got to be careful. She floats it back to Brown. They'll reset the offense. Brown left side, dishes it to Abby Harrell. They come up with a shot, a bit off the mark. Rebound fought for and off the foot of Lexi Middle, unfortunately, who's trying to pull down the board. So Elk City keeps possession with 3:11 remaining in the half. Boomers still lead 13-12. Elk City trying to take what should be their first lead of the game here. As Brown top the key, pitches at free throw line to Silly, turns around, fires it up. That's wild, too strong. Second chance, that's off the mark as well. Colt finally rips it down for the Boomers. And she'll pitch it over to Mendel, who's picked up immediately by Brown. Races across the timeline right side, and Mendel draws the foul on Brown, who kind of gave her a little frustration nudge, babe.
Yeah, I think that's, and I think a lot of this comes out of what the Boomers are doing, on the defensive end of the floor. It's they're causing a lot of frustration, and they're getting up in the face of Elk City. So, you know, in situations like that where you get beat, you're going to get some of those frustrations come out when you have the ball.
Nelson comes back in. She'll take out Mendel as Floyd inbounds to Miller in the backcourt. 2:50 remaining in the half. Boomers lead 13-12. Nelson, that pass off her hands and easy for Brown the other way. Wide open for layup and gets it from the right side. So Brown with 12 points of the 14. And Elk City now leads 14-13. Boomers the other way. Another turnover as Miller's pass intended for Nelson. Stolen back though by Miller on the pass by Elk City. Head to Douglas Fisher. Corrals it for Miller. Takes a hard foul. Does Douglas Fisher as flying over to make the foul. That was Abby Harrell who flew in and made sure that Briley didn't get a clean shot off.
Well, that kind of goes back to that. You know, if you're going to foul, make sure they miss it. And, you know, Briley took a shot on that.
At the line for 2 free throws is Douglas Fisher. First one up and nothing but net. So she's got 4 of the 14. We're all squared at 14 with 2:32 remaining in the half. Douglas Fisher trying to push the Boomers back ahead. And on the second free throw, that one a bit long. Rebound taken by Harrell. Elk City goes the other way. Up into the left court for O'Hara. She'll hand it off to Harrell, who then goes out of bounds on the baseline trying to dribble. Oh, no.
Got her with the carry.
Carried it. Okay, I thought he might call her out of bounds, not the case.
What she did was she kind of took that little, not a stutter step, but it brought it up, kind of took a little bit of a step, and then brought it back down, and he got her with carrying the ball.
Boomers the other way as Douglas Fisher, a nice little 2-man game to Lex Mendel, flies in for the shot off the glass and fouled. Shot was off the mark, but a nice little break by the Boomers to get out of that pressure and create an open layup for Mendel, who will go to the free throw line. Foul credited to Ellis O'Tilley, the 5th of the quarter for Elk City.
The Boomers went through a stretch where they were struggling breaking that pressure, but you know, now they seem to have kind of figured out a little bit of a groove to get the ball down the floor.
As Mendel makes the first free throw, she's got 4 points, and the Boomers lead once again, now 15-14. Second free throw is short armed. That was an air ball, so Mendel bit off the mark on the second one. And it goes back to Elk City. As Boomers again with the 1-point lead, 15-14. Teams have traded blows in this first half, but no defensive battle. As will be Brown for the Elkettes with the calm dribble across the timeline. Trying to call out some plays as they're working in the corner. It's O'Tilley. Back to Brown, right wing. Top the key to O'Hara. Pass almost too far out of bounds, but collected by Ball. Gives it back to O'Hara on her dribble. Works it right wing. Sees a bit of pressure, and they tried to hand off to Brown. They're saying Brown the last to touch it, and the Boomers get the possession. So again, that Boomer pressure, at least in the half-court area, leads to a turnover.
Yeah, that's, you know, it's really good to see the Boomers, you know, kind of using that pressure because, you know, I think they know they're going to have to kind of work just a little extra harder, you know, to be able to win games. And when you're pressuring like that, it's gonna frustrate, you know, frustrate your opponent.
The Boomers turn it over off the inbounds, but then Elk City turns it over with Brown, and Briley Douglas Fisher draws a block as trying to camp up was Harrell near center court.
Yeah, I think Briley kind of might know she kind of got away with one.
A little bit of leaning on the shoulder.
She lowered her shoulder on that. You know, it looked like a fullback maybe.
I've been watching Ryan Douglas Fisher finish some of those runs all football season. So that is the 6th team foul in the quarter for the Elkettes. Obviously, Boomers now in the bonus after that 5, so they're at the free throw line with 2 shots, and Coach Ham wants a quick timeout for Elk City before these free throws. Smith & Co. Auction and Realty, Oklahoma's real estate and land auction expert. Smith & Co. is your #1 choice for all your land auctions and real estate needs. Call them 580-254-3975 or email ira@smithcorealestate.com. Great Plains Bank, heritage, trust, respect. Those are the things that make Great Plains Bank great. With deep roots across Oklahoma and Texas, they are in touch with the communities in which they live, or their customers live and work. Great Plains Bank, Smith & Co. powering Boomer Sports this season. So Briley Douglas Fisher, 2 free throws coming to her out of this timeout after the foul by Elk City, the blocking foul. Douglas Fisher so far with 4 points. Boomers with some spread out scoring. 4 for Colt, 4 for Douglas Fisher, 4 for Bendel. As the first free throw for Douglas Fisher rattles home. Makes it 16-14 for the Boomers with 1:39 left in the first half. 5 on the floor right now for them. Nelson, Floyd, Douglas Fisher, Miller, and Colt. Second free throw on the way for Douglas Fisher. That one splashes as well. She's got 6. The Boomers have a 3-point lead, 17-14. Elk City back the other way with Brown across the timeline. Looking to attack. Drives into the paint. Goes for the right side layup. That's way too strong. Rebound fought for between Colt and Sotilli. And jump ball, possession arrow gives it to the Boomers. And again, Colt not being denied underneath in terms of trying to fight for those bullets.
Yeah, I've been really impressed with how hard she has worked early on tonight. You know, hopefully this is something we can continue to see, and you know, which adds such a major piece to this Boomer girls.
Especially with Kayla Mills out right now. We talked about you need some grit, some toughness, and so far Colt answering. Boomers trying to go the other way as Bendel going to get called for the charge. Looked like she was getting sandwiched by Elk City, and they got her for the charge. That one, I mean, we talked about the first one could have went the other way. I don't think you necessarily complain too much there.
Yeah, I think that's kind of a no-brainer. That was a player control. She was really out of control in that situation. So.
Elk City the other way. Quick shot, a bit too strong. Rebound taken by Floyd, but she gets tied up. Possession arrow would keep it with the Elkettes. Minute 14 remaining in the half. Boomers lead 17-14. Sotilli one down beneath the right block. Trying to direct traffic, gives that to O'Hara, top of the key. Bounces it, below the elbow to Sotilli, right side. Back up top to Harrell, work around going to the left. She got fouled on the way there, though. They're going to get Ava Miller for this one.
Yeah, it was kind of, compared to some of the contact we've seen all night, you know, that was a little bit more touchy, but, you know, that she definitely kind of got her hand down, kind of around the hip and touched her, and you're going to get that foul a lot of times.
So Elk City with an error bound to O'Hara left side. Back to Sotilli. As worked it out of the baseline, it does. Up top to O'Hara. Couple dribble moves. Feeds it back around. And she'll give it to Williamson. Elkettes trying to attack. Can't. Now step back shot on the way for ball. That's off the front of the iron. Rebound taken by Douglas Fisher as the Boomers push with 45 seconds in the half. To Colt. Top of the key. She'll work right side to Floyd, who will set up the offense. 40 seconds remaining. Boomers lead 17-14 in the second quarter. Top of the key back up to Miller, left wing to Floyd. Find to Colt, and she traveled with the drug that second foot forward, unfortunately. So turnover for the Boomers.
Yeah, I got that momentum going forward. It was hard to stop. But I want to go back to coming up the floor where she recognized that she needed to pull, kind of stop, you know, to allow the ball to get back to the middle of the floor on that pressure coming up.
There's Elk City with Harrell top key, and then she travels after she got the pass from O'Hara. So with 22 seconds left, the Boomers get it right back. Been that type of game so far.
You know,
not really rhythm or clean both sides.
Right. You know, we just got to remember it's the first game of the year. Both these teams are trying to figure things out.
20 seconds remains in the half. Boomers lead 17-14. Nelson swings it left side to Miller on the wing. Miller guard to Talley, trying to get Douglas Fisher in the paint on the right block. That's picked off, though, by Sotilli underneath with 8 seconds remaining in the half. And then she's fouled, looks like, by Douglas Fisher. That's just Briley's first.
Ava recognized Briley down there on the block. Unfortunately, she just didn't get enough. You got to get the ball more up and over the defenders. Kind of throw it more towards the corner of the backboard.
So on the inbounds, Elk City with 8 seconds. They push ahead. O'Hara, left corner. Garbarino with 2, puts it up, and that's short. An air ball, and that's how we end the first half as a rebound taken by Taylor Floyd. And the Boomers take a 17-14 lead into the break over the Elk City Elkettes. We'll step aside. You're listening to Boomer Basketball on Z92 and Boomer TV.
Life never stops moving. Between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety you expect, you can lose track of the miles and focus on what really matters, the memories made along the way. Stop in today at 2220 Main in Woodward to see your local Michelin dealer, High Plains Tire.
This back-to-school season, give your home the connection it deserves with Go Pioneer Fiber Internet. Experience the power of Wi-Fi 6 technology for smoother streaming, gaming, and learning. And with the Go Pioneer Smart Wi-Fi app, managing your home network is a breeze. Choose from multiple plans with symmetrical speeds for lightning-fast uploads and downloads. Get your family school ready with Go Pioneer Fiber Internet. Sign up today at gopioneer.com.
Back in Woodward leads 17-14 over the Elk-Ets. This girls game at the half. And looking at your halftime stats, your High Plains Tire halftime stats for Elk City. No surprise, Abby Brown, 12 points of the 14 for the Elk-Ets. She has really been powering them through. The only other Elk-Et to score so far tonight is Ella Sotilli with 2 for the Boomers. Scoring a bit more spread out, Briley Douglas Fisher leading the way with 6. You've got 4 from Lexi Mendel, as well as Caitlin Culp, and 3 from Taylor Floyd. She had the three-pointer in that first half. Quarter scoring 8-5 after 1, and then it was all even in that second quarter, 9 apiece for both squads. That's how we get to the 17-14 halftime score. Again, High Plains Tire halftime stats. Visit High Plains Tire, 2220 Main Street. It is where your dollar goes further. And Eric, looking at that half, I mean, physical, sloppy, but like you said multiple times, it is the first game for both these teams. You're going to get some of that, but I think when you look at what Elk City brought to the table this year in terms of returning starters and whatnot, you got to be pleased if you're Coach Moore. This is a good Elk City squad you're competing against.
Yeah, you're going up against a good squad. I felt like, one thing we talked about in the pregame was, what's the chemistry going to be like, for this Woodward team, this first actual game without, 2 key players and Jocelyn Treese and Riley Moore, and so, there's...
Speaking of Jocelyn, she's in attendance.
Yep. And so kind of saw her, nice eyes as you kind of saw her coming up immediately. But, I feel like the chemistry overall, you can see some of the chemistry issues at times, on the, the fast break and things like that where, somebody makes the pass thinking that somebody else is going to be there, or, maybe slow recognizing somebody. But overall, I feel like the Boomers have, done a pretty good job in the first game of the season.
And I think, if you're Coach Moore in the locker room, what's kind of the main things you're harping on in terms of that improvement in the second half, Eric? I mean, obviously it wasn't perfect. Is it focusing more on being clean, trying to break that pressure? Is it executing in the half court? What are you singling out there if you're a coach at the halftime trying to figure out how to improve, upon a 3-point lead? Yeah,
there's 2 things that I think that you're going to, really point out. And obviously, it is going to be kind of on that whenever they are applying some pressure. You're not, because it's not a full court. It's more of a 3-quarter court, a zone pressure. And so it's more of just slow down, as you're bringing up the girls who are, kind of ready to take the pass. They've got to find that spot in those zones. And that's also rebounding. I kind of talked about where, we're putting ourselves there, but we're not blocking out. And if it is hard to get kids. I don't understand it because I tried for the last 3 years to get kids to understand how important blocking out is, because even if you don't get the rebound, if they're jumping over the top of you, and you have position, because you have that position, the foul will go on it.
Right.
You hear from the crowd all the time, over the back. You hear fans call, over the back all the time. There's not an over the back call.
In high school, yeah.
That is not a thing. Now, if you have position and somebody reaches over you to get the ball, when you have that position established, then you have from the floor to the ceiling. And so, that's where the foul would be. But if you're just standing there waiting for the ball to come down to you and somebody reaches over the top, there's
especially if they're taller, you're not going to get that.
And so you've got to work harder underneath the back end to somebody, get position, and go after the ball for rebounds.
Well, to that point, it's a physical game, right? And like you said, it's hard sometimes to illustrate that to kids on the basketball court. They think it's a little bit more of a, you see the highlight mixtapes, it's a high-flying game, and it is, but there is that element of physicality, no doubt about it.
Well, and a lot of times what happens is you kind of, if you don't have that natural basketball IQ, you don't have that awareness as much. You don't realize that. Yeah, I don't see anybody right here. There's a bunch of people standing behind me as well in a small space. There's more than likely somebody that's going to be there to fight for a rebound as well.
And looking at the Elk City side of this, how do you, if you're the Boomers, try to deal with Abby Brown? We talked about in the pregame that, hey, you're not going to shut her out by any means. She averaged 15 a game last year. You expect that production to at least be the same, if not uptick, providing, she's already a 1,000-point scorer in her career. She's got an eye for the basket. She has been a little off in this first half as well. We've seen some missed threes, a little uncharacteristic when she's had the space. It seems like the Boomers are trying to be physical with her when she does attack to the paint, what she likes to do. Is there any adjustments you try to make there specifically when it comes to Abby Brown?
Yeah, to me, she's going to get her points, as you said, and I think, continue to be physical with her. And worry about worry about everybody else taking away from them, and then forcing her to take bad shots. If you can take away everybody else, and then force her to make a few bad shots here and there, you're going to set yourself up pretty well.
And with that first half recap, both teams kind of getting ready to come out of the locker room about 3 minutes or so before we get the second half underway. Step aside for a quick break. You're listening to Boomer Basketball on Z92 and Boomer TV.
At Bank of Western Oklahoma, we know what it takes to keep your farm running smoothly. Our experienced lenders understand agriculture and offer competitive loans for real estate, livestock, equipment, and more. We are locally owned and invested in our communities, making decisions that benefit you quickly. Bank of Western Oklahoma, the bank that works as hard as you do. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
And back at Elk City. Start the second half between the and the Elkettes. First basketball contest of the year. Compass Athletics, from sports equipment to championship trophies and everything in between. 2024 Main Street in Woodward. Call them 580-256-7045. R5 customer embroidery. When you work with R5, you can count on a quick, fun, and enjoyable process with results that consistently exceed your expectations. Come chat with their screen printing experts by Customized Apparel, 817 Main Street in Woodward, or 580-256-3579. And Western Drug, 1021 Oklahoma Avenue in Woodward. They've got friendly and caring staff. Also a drive-through window that's awfully convenient. Always excellent service. Call 580-256-5586. Compass Athletics R5 and Western Drug, powering Boomer Sports this season. Both teams out of the locker room finally, getting those shots back up as just minutes away from getting this one back underway. And Eric, final key for the Boomers here for the second half. What was the ultimate thing they got to do to be able to take the victory?
Besides the rebounding, as I talked about there at halftime, I'd like to see the Boomers slow down just a little bit. There's been opportunities that they've had that, to break that pressure where they've made a bad pass, because they were rushing it. There was one offensive foul, could have been two offensive fouls because they were rushing so much. Just let the game happen, let things develop in front of them.
Absolutely. As believe did Elk City, I guess, technically win the tip to start with how that possession went, because the Elk City ball after got tipped away. See who starts with the possession in the second half, I guess.
They've got the possession arrow going towards Woodward right now.
Okay. But Eric is going to take over play-by-play for the second half, because Friday we're gonna need him.
Are we sure?
Yes.
Are we sure about this?
Yes, we're sure about this. Let the man flex a bit, get rolling. Him and Ely will be bringing you the broadcast Friday night in Weatherford, as we'll have football on K101 that we talked about early. Both teams get into their final huddles.
Making sure they're not changing the possession arrow. That's like what most officials will come over to the table like right before, let you know who has it. On the floor for Elk City to start this half, it's Campbell Garbarino We have Ella
Sotilli.
Sotilli.
I want to trip you up.
Ella Sotilli. We have Kylie Coffey. Let's see, where are we at here? So this is where I'm Lacey O'Hara. You think as many times as I've done stats, I can do this. For the Boomers, we have Lexi Mendel.
Taylor Floyd.
Yes, Taylor Floyd, Ava Miller, Bailey Nelson, and Briley Douglas Fisher. Nelson brings the ball down the lane on the left side, right side, and misses with the layup. Brought down by Elk City.
Swing it around. Bit. Passed on by Mendel.
Yeah, passed on by Mendel. Trying to learn names here already.
Good. You're good.
Passed on by Mendel. Mendel again down the right side. She kicks it out to Floyd. Floyd from the right wing misses. Bailey Nelson brings down the rebound, and as she's falling down, she turns it over and throws it back into Abby Brown.
Good look by Floyd. Just couldn't go there from three.
Abby Brown brings the ball to the floor. She also dribbles down the lane, takes kind of a wild shot. Riley Douglas Fisher brings down the rebound. Boomers push the ball up to Bailey Nelson, and Nelson goes up for a layup, and she is fouled.
Good drive by Nelson. Good outlet pass from Douglas Fisher to get her there. You talked about being patient, Eric, there before the half are slowing down. That looked in control for the Boomers on that fast break.
Yeah, the foul's on Campbell Garbarino. That is actually her third foul of the game here early in the third quarter.
To monitor that situation, Boomers also, Lexi Mendel has 3 fouls. That was kind of their lead foul.
Bailey makes her first free throw for the Boomers. Gives the Boomers an 18-14 lead with 5:58 to go in the third.
And that is Nelson's first point again.
Second free throw is good. 19-14 Boomers. Get the ball down to the left wing to Garbarino. Garbarino pulls up a shot. She airballs it. Coming down with the rebound was Bailey Nelson. Nelson kicks it out over to Ava Miller. Miller then trapped. She kicks it back across the floor to Nelson. Nelson kicks it, throws it across half court, back to Miller. Riley Douglas Fisher, she drives, she splits a couple defenders, and she lays it in with a tough shot. Unfortunately, Riley's coming up a little slow.
Yeah, that was a tough hit she took. What a finish by Riley Douglas Fisher through some intense traffic. I'm not surprised, Eric, they didn't call the foul there. And of course, the injury timeout. Riley now with 8 points as the Boomers lead 21-14 with 6:28 left.
And Riley is going to come off the floor. Caitlin Culp is going to come in for her. Yeah, that's something it's kind of scary to see because, we know about the knee injuries that Riley has coming back from one last season. So
yeah, cost her a bit of time last season. We alluded to that in the pregame with some of those injury issues that plagued her down the stretch of the season.
So inbound, Abby Brown's going to bring the ball up for the Elkettes. You want to say the Lady Elks. Elkettes.
Yeah, they'll throw you off with the Elkettes.
So she gets the ball to Ellis Satoli. And she is fouled at about the free throw line by, I believe, Ava Miller, which is now her third personal foul of the game.
So the Boomers with 2 players now with 3 personal fouls, both Mendel and Miller. That's the first one of the quarter for the Boomers.
Garbarino takes the inbounds in the right corner, and she is stripped by Taylor Floyd. Floyd pushes the ball up the floor to Lexi Mendel. From the left side off the glass, Mendel pushes the Boomers lead to 23-14 with 5 minutes to go in the third.
6 points now for Mendel. Another great outlet pass this time from Taylor Floyd.
Garbarino pulls up from the right wing. She misses. Lexi Mendel pulls down the rebound, and she is tied up. That's kind of the second time we've seen where it looked like that, that jump call came in a little quick.
It did. They do give the possession arrow to Elk City, so the Elkettes will keep it now. Coach Ham getting a little sassy once in the timeout call there. Before we go to our read, there's good news for the Boomers as Riley Douglas Fisher is back out on the floor for the Boomers. Just had to catch her breath a bit for sure. Saline State Bank now with the branch in Woodward, their new location, 2314 Williams Avenue. Saline State Bank Woodward branch offers full service banking, including personal checking, savings, home and commercial loans, mobile and online banking as well, wire transfers, and much more. Silly State Bank powering Boomer Sports this season.
So coming out of this timeout, Boomers have 23-14 lead. You know, just again, you like to see the Boomers continue. Got it there. Like I said, they were slowing down. Was something we wanted to see coming out in the third quarter. There's 5:48 to go here left in the quarter. You know, but after a turnover, we got the Boomers right on Elk City inbounding the ball underneath the basket.
The Boomers only a 6-0 run the last first 3 minutes of this quarter, I should say.
Inbound to Abby Brown at the top of the key. She kicks it over to Kylie Coffey, back to Brown. Brown drives in. And she is fouled. Foul is going to go against Taylor Floyd. Looks like it's going to be on the floor, though.
Yeah. They're going to say she ripped in too strong, trying to take it away. I thought Floyd for a minute had it clean, but they called a foul.
Yeah.
Second of the quarter for the Boomers.
Inbound goes back out up top to Brown. She passes it down to Satoli. Back to Kylie Coffey with a running kind of off-balance jumper. Garbarino got the rebound. She goes up, she misses, and the ball goes out of bounds. Looks like it's going to be off the Elkettes.
Yeah, off O'Hara there fighting for it, but you mentioned the first half. Got to get those offensive bullets. Those second chances have been there for Elk City. Boomers lucky they haven't capitalized.
Yeah, too many second chances. Boomers, again, breaking this press. They've already got the ball up the floor. Riley Douglas Fisher found Taylor Floyd. Floyd tried to throw it underneath to Ava Miller. Cutting to the basket, unfortunately, the ball just went a little high out of bounds.
Yeah, it's tough. Would have been an easy two had Miller been able to pull that one in, but a bit too high.
So Brown bringing the ball up for the Elkettes. Wow, interesting call here. Brown tried to drop it off to Kylie Coffey, but Bailey Nelson was called for the foul. She reached in. It looked like to me that maybe she got the ball, but.
Yeah, they said body first. That's only her first foul, though, of the game, third of the quarter for Elk City, or for Boomers.
And the inbound for the Elkettes, you know, it's kind of was knocked away by Taylor Floyd, knocked all the way down the opposite end, but the ball goes out of bounds off Floyd, and it's going to be an Elkett ball.
Good read by Floyd, just couldn't track it down a little bit too fast.
Abby Brown bringing the ball up court, across midcourt now, and she's being guarded by Taylor Floyd. She takes it down for a little running jumper. Riley Douglas Fisher comes down with the rebound. Now Douglas Fisher's pushing the ball up. She passes it over to Bailey Nelson, who comes across. She's on the left wing. Over to Riley Fisher, who passes it over to Taylor Floyd. Now Lexi Mendel has the ball at the top of the key. She kicks it to the left side to Bailey Nelson. Nelson across the court to Riley Douglas Fisher. Boomers trying to find an opportunity here. Lexi Mendel has the ball off the right wing. She dumps it underneath. The ball is knocked away by Lucy O'Hara. And O'Hara and Brown gets the ball, comes down. As she goes up for a layup. She is hit hard by Ava Miller, who's going to get called for the foul.
Yeah, that was a rough collision between the two, and you said in the first half, if you're going to foul, make the money's worth.
Yeah.
And they both, collided on that one. That's Miller's fourth foul. So we'll see if Coach Moore sits her. It looks like that's going to be the case. She probably wants to catch her breath. Anyways, Culp will come in. 4:12 remaining third quarter. Brown at the line.
Brown's first shot is good.
13-15 now for Brown. Culp does indeed sub in for Miller.
Then Olivia Williamson and Blakely Ball come onto the court for the Elkettes.
It's Coffey and O'Hara will sit.
Second shot is good. 4:12 to go. It's 23-16 Boomers. Boomers push the ball to court. Bailey Nelson on the right side of the floor. She brings it back to Floyd, who passes it over to Lexi Mendel. Mendel to Riley Douglas Fisher from the left side. She goes up for kind of a jumper layup type of shot, and she is fouled on the shot.
Yeah, another nice quick ball movement from the Boomers to work that around, find it open. Riley Douglas Fisher to get that look and draw that foul. They will get for her first foul.
Blakely Ball.
Blakely Ball. Yes.
And the first shot by Douglas Fisher goes in. Boomers extend their lead 24-16.
For Douglas Fisher, 9 points, trying to get double digits here.
That shot is no good. Caitlin Culp goes up, gets the rebound, and she is tied up. Number 22, Ellis Satilli. Still can't say that.
Yeah, you're good. It's took me a minute.
You know, she got her hands in there and tied up Culp.
They did have the possession here with 2:06.
Brown brings the ball down the court. She goes to the left side. She kicks it out to Gabrielli, who takes a three. She will miss it. Satilli comes down with the rebound. She kicks it out to Olivia Williamson. She misses a shot. Ball goes out of bounds to the Boomers.
Williamson has had a quick trigger every time she's been in there. She's wanted to get those threes off. Has been misfiring on all of them so far.
Boomers inbound the ball. They're pressured, and it looks like there's going to be a jump ball as Caitlin Culp went for the rebound, and the Elkets tie it up. Possession area goes towards the Boomers.
Yeah, a bit of a loose pass caused that one, so the Boomers able to keep it off the possession area like you mentioned.
Floyd inbounds the ball to Mendel. Mendel brings the ball up. She kicks it. Kicks the ball at the Briley Douglas Fisher, who hits Culp underneath the basket wide open. And she is going to be fouled.
Let's see who they get on this one for LC, 2 in the area, and then we'll get Satilli.
So Satilli with her second foul of the evening. That's the third team foul for the Elkets. Culp's first shot is no good.
Culp still with 4 points, but again, Eric, I mean, they're just doing a much better job so far in the second half of breaking that press, leading to some good open looks. That's trouble for LC if the Boomers can keep capitalizing.
And now Lou Wyatt comes on the floor for the Elkets, replacing Satilli. Culp's second free throw is good. Boomers extend their lead 25-16 with 3:28 to go in the third.
5 points now for Culp so far.
Brown brings the ball to the court down the right side of the lane. She kicks it out to Wyatt. Kicks it to Garbarino. Garbarino,
yep.
Who drives down the right side of the lane and lays it in.
Garbarino's first basket of the game.
Boomers quickly break the pressure and get the ball to the court, but it is knocked away.
It looks like Brown diving into the Boomer bench just about trying to save it.
Yeah, it's knocked away by Brown, who kind of lost control. The ball started to roll out of bounds, and as she dove, she slid out of bounds. So it's going to stay with the Boomers. So Floyd passes the backcourt to Mendel. Mendel passes it up to the left wing to Bailey Nelson. Nelson to her left to Briley Douglas Fisher. Boomer swing it back around to Lex Mendel. Now back to Fisher on the left side. Trying to find Fisher finds Floyd on the right wing wide open for three. She misses it. But Douglas Fisher comes down with the rebound. Again, Floyd with three from the right wing. Culp with the rebound. And Culp goes back up, and she is fouled.
What a good possession by the Boomers again. Finding some of that offensive rebounding that we needed in the first half. And able to get two good looks from Taylor Floyd a bit off, but Culp, she's been working hard in this game, will go to the line.
And that's, that's something you want to see if you're the Boomers. That is Brown's third foul of the game.
Fourth in the quarter as well.
And Culp hits her first free throw.
She's got 6, looking for 7 on this next one.
And Culp hits at 27-18. Boomers, 2:33 to go in the third. Brown brings the ball up cross half court. She sets she gets an opportunity for a wide open three, and she nails it. She hit that from a good 2 feet from behind the three-point line.
17 of the 21 now for Brown, and that was the first real three she's nailed.
Boomers turn it over on the inbound. Garbarino gets the ball gets the loose ball right in front of the basket. She just puts it up there, and she is fouled. Looks like the foul is going to be on Bailey Nelson, her second of the game.
And the shot counting, a 5-point swing for Elk City in the span of about 10 seconds.
Garbarino misses her free throw, but she comes up with her own rebound, a loose ball. And she passes it over to Olivia Williamson, who takes a long three from the left side. She misses her shot. Boomers get the rebound, and Briley Douglas Fisher is fouled. And that's one of those. That's kind of a frustration foul, a long way from the Boomer basket. And that's going to be the 5th foul of the quarter. So the Boomers are going to go to the line for 2.
And that one on oh goodness, Williamson. So she collects that one, her second. And Boomers now with a couple of free throws here.
Douglas Fisher's first free throw is good.
First double-digit score of the night for the Boomers is Douglas Fisher, now with 10.
And she hits the second, converts the second one. It's 29-23 Boomers with 2 minutes to go in the third quarter. Brown with the ball on the right side. She gets the ball in the court. She has to pull up her dribbler, Garbarino. She passes out to Garbarino on the right side, who kicks it back out to Brown, who hits it for three from the right wing. She's starting to heat up a little bit.
Yeah, she is. That's exactly what I was about to say. Three-point game all of a sudden. The Boomers barely in the lead.
Yeah, and then the Elkettes trap Lexi Mendel on the inbound, and it looks like Coach Moore is going to get the timeout as Mendel is trapped. So the Boomers are going to get the timeout, and I believe it's going to be a 30-second timeout here for the Boomers.
Wow, and Coach Ham not happy with that. He thought he had them trapped pretty hard there, so you heard some of the Bluebirds from the Elk City crowd. M&D Enterprises and Lawnmower Shop. For your best lawn, porch, or patio, M&D Enterprises and Lawnmower Shop are your people. They carry everything you need to make your greenscape that little piece of heaven you've always dreamed of. Locations in Woodward, Canton, and Weatherford. Smith & Co. Auction and Realty, Oklahoma's real estate and land auction experts. Smith & Co. is your #1 choice for all your land auctions and real estate needs. Call 580-254-3975 or email Ira at smithcorealestate.com. Smith & Co. M&D, powering Boomer sports this season.
1:40 to go in the third quarter. The Boomers have a 3-point lead, 29-26. And it will be the Boomer ball right in front of the Elkette bench, just to our left, going left to right for the Boomers on it. And she passes it into Mendel. Mendel's being pressured as more of and Mendel, kind of a bad pass. Floyd was unable to come up with it. She turns it over. And Boomers trap Brown, and as Brown tries to throw it off of Floyd's legs. She tries to throw it off Floyd's legs. Floyd was able to get it. Brown ties her up, and we have a jump ball. Now we have, it's going to be Elk City's possession, and Elk City takes a timeout here. It's going to be a full timeout.
Yeah, Coach Ham, boy, he, let's talk about this. Eric, you saw it, Floyd, a little bit of sass kind of on the end of that jump ball. Telling Abby Brown, such I ain't afraid of you. I ain't afraid. So, but man, what a quick little comeback from Elk City. It looked like the Boomers were going to push it to double digits, and Abby Brown has been on fire to start the second half. So a couple big threes. She's up to 20 points of the 26 for the Elkettes. As far as runs, looking at some of those trends over the last few minutes, Elk City has outscored Woodward 12-6. So that's where you get that comeback from the Elkettes. Boomers have dominated the early part of this quarter, but Elk City right now owning the last half of it.
Now, Boomers doing a much better job of collapsing into the lane on a missed shot, but unfortunately now Elk City has started to knock down their threes, so that's going to unfortunately spread out the defense a little bit more for the Boomers.
Chopping up with one of the Boomer basketball players of the past, Luis Corral. He's reffing, he's officiating. He did the JV game today. That was cool. So love to see that. Some of the former athletes getting into that. We need some officials, that's for sure.
So ball inbounds for the Elkettes. Start Garbarino along the baseline from the left side. She dribbles into the lane. She takes kind of a jumping hook shot. Misses. Colt comes down with the rebound. She passes over to Bailey Nelson, who's bringing the ball up court. She finds Floyd, who did over to Douglas Fisher. And the Boomers are now have an opportunity to set up an offense. Mendel off the right wing. She goes up to the top of the key to Bailey Nelson. Nelson to the left side to Floyd. Floyd then finds Douglas Fisher from the left wing. Takes a shot, no good. Brown comes out with the rebound. She pushes the ball up the floor. And Brown tries to make a move. She goes up for a tough, really contested shot. I don't, she had Douglas Fisher standing there, hands up in the air, but Douglas Fisher is called for the, actually it's going to be against Floyd.
Yeah, I was going to say they kind of had her sandwiched, and I think unfortunately for Floyd, she was getting a little bit too much body on the back end of that. As That's why they call that one. Douglas Fisher played it right. There's no doubt about that.
And so Floyd is called with her third foul. And the first shot by Brown is no good. Coming onto the floor for the Elk-Ets to Abby Harrell.
It's 29-26. Boomers still lead 47 seconds, third quarter.
Second shot is no good. Douglas Fisher comes down with the rebound. She passes over to Bailey Nelson and brings the ball up the floor. Nelson across the timeline, and she is fouled by Harrell, who just came on the floor. Harrell is a senior, but you know, we're now starting to see some of these other girls off the Elk City bench get into the game. You know, and that just shows, yeah, they have depth, but the Boomers,
wear them out a little bit, man.
You know, they're working them. So Bailey Nelson goes to the line.
As Boomers, both teams in a bonus the rest of this 39 seconds.
And Nelson misses her first free throw.
She's got 2 on the night so far. Trying to add to that.
Nelson misses that free throw as well. Brown comes down with the rebound. 35 seconds to go. Elk City is down by 3, 29-26. Brown drives it in with a layup. She misses from the right side, but after the loose ball, it goes right back to Brown. Harrell drives in, and she is fouled in the middle of the lane.
Yeah, Culp just going to tag her a bit too much. Good defense by Culp, aggressive, but just put a little bit too much body as Harrell was flying into the paint for the layup attempt.
That's going to be Culp's second foul. This would be a shooting foul for Harrell. Harrell misses the first free throw.
Harrell still scoreless in this one after a few shot attempts, including that free throw.
O'Hare comes on the floor and Brown comes out. That, you know, it's
maybe her first rest of the season.
Yeah, you know, they're going to use the kind of the break between the third and fourth quarter to give her a little bit extra rest.
Smart move by Coach Ann.
So Harrell's next free throw is good. 29-27 Boomers with 20 seconds to go. And the ball gets inbounded to Bailey Nelson, and Nelson is fouled with 20.9 seconds to go in the third.
That's another foul in Oak City this quarter where the Boomers are so far away from even the timeline. Just unnecessary, and they're going to charge that one to a ball, her second.
Yeah, it's probably the 4th or 5th foul today that's on the opposite third of the court. Nelson misses her first. And free throws are kind of biting both teams right now. Both teams struggling at the free throw line.
Yeah, the only 2-for-2 attempts we've seen have come from Abby Brown once and Bradley Douglas Fisher for the Boomers.
Yeah, Ella Howard now on the floor, replacing Mendel. Nelson misses her second rebound. Coming down with it was Lou Wyatt for the Elk-Ets, and the ball is knocked out of bounds, but says going to stay with the
jump ball on that one.
Ball.
Yeah, Howard able to get in there and force it, so good job by her straight off the bench.
So Blakely ball from the left corner, or right corner. She misses. Williamson comes down with the offensive rebound for the Elk-Ets. O'Hara dribbles around. She takes a long three, and she misses it. Ball goes out of bounds. Is the time as the quarter comes to an end. Boomers lead the home team, the Elk City Elk-Ets, 29-27 as we close the third quarter.
Be back on Z92.
Tired of complicated Wi-Fi management? Go Pioneer Smart Wi-Fi makes it easy. With Go Pioneer Smart Wi-Fi, you can set your Wi-Fi password, view all your connected devices, and even run speed tests all from your phone. Need to set up parental controls? No problem. Simple, smart, secure. Stay connected and in control with Go Pioneer Smart Wi-Fi. Visit GoPioneer.com to learn more.
You tackle an endless to-do list every day. It may seem like a thankless job, but you know better. It's the little things that matter most. That's why you appreciate the enduring value of the Michelin Defender tire. Designed for doers like you, Michelin's longest-lasting tire keeps you on the go longer, so you have one less thing to worry about on your next road trip. Stop in today for miles of uncompromised safety and performance. Visit your local Michelin dealer, High Plains Tire, at 2220 Main in Woodward.
At have the possession.
Boomers have the possession. Inbound by Floyd. She passes it to Mendel in the backcourt. Floyd, Mendel, Nelson, Briley Douglas Fisher, and Ava Miller on the floor for the Boomers. And on the floor for the Elkettes, you have Garbarino, O'Hara, you have Satilli. Let's see here.
Coffee as well.
Coffee and Brown. Yeah. Briley Douglas Fisher gets the ball. She takes. Oh wow! Acrobatic, tough shot off the left side, off the backboard left side, and she hits it. 31-27 Boomers. 7:41 to go.
And that was one of those where she took a little contact on the drive and still no.
Garbarino drives down the left side of the lane. She kicks it out for a wide open shot for Brown. Brown misses. Rebound brought in by Satilli. Brown drives the baseline. She kicks out to Garbarino. Garbarino with the drive and kind of the left-handed floater. She comes down slow. It looks like maybe a cramp.
Yeah, instantly was reaching for the calf, so I think it was a cramp. One of those where she actually almost shot it. You can see her kind of twinge up a little bit. So kudos to her for finishing that shot through a cramp. She's quickly up.
Yeah, Olivia Williamson's coming on the floor to replace Garbarino. The Boomers are going to inbound the ball. They do have the length of the baseline because off a made shot. So Nelson throws it in to Mendel, Mendel is trapped, and she is stripped by Lucy O'Hara. And the ball was a loose ball. Mendel reached back and trying to get control. She slapped the ball out of bounds. It's going to be an Elkettes ball, basically in the far left corner. Inbound to Brown, top of the key. Brown kicks it over to Kylie Coffee. Coffee shot, no good. Douglas Fisher comes down with the rebound, and she is pushing it up. She's coming up quick. She passes off to the right side to Ava Miller, who misses, but goes right into the arms of Lexi Mendel, who is fouled on the shot.
Yeah, great job by Mendel, being in the right place, right time on that miss for Miller, and will go to the line to reward herself there after the second effort.
That's Lucy O'Hara's first foul of the game.
Just her first. I feel like she's been involved in more plays than that to only have one.
And again, missed free throw for the Boomers. Lexi Mendel misses her first shot.
Lane's 31-29, 7 minutes even remaining fourth quarter.
Mendel's second shot, no good. Rebound brought down by O'Hara. So with 6:55 left, Boomers are up 31-29. Brown, O'Hara from the right side misses the shot. Nelson gets the rebound. She turns it over, and the Elkettes finish off the fast break off the turnover with Satilli with a layup from the right side. The Boomers quickly get the ball in, ball up court to Ava Miller. Miller passes back out to Lexi Mendel from the left side. She misses it, maybe barely got iron. The ball goes out of bounds to the Boomers.
Yeah, backside fight by Nelson and Brown on the rebound. Brown the last touch. Good look for Mendel. Just couldn't take advantage of it. But we've seen that from both sides tonight. Both teams maybe not shooting too hot from the field.
Garbarino back on the floor for the Elkettes, replacing Williamson. And Taylor Floyd finds Lexi Mendel cutting to the basket. She finds her wide open, and Mendel is fouled, so she is going to go to the line yet again.
Great cut for Mendel there on the inbound play. Now you got to take advantage of the line we've talked about. It's kind of hurt both teams in the second half. Opportunities have been there. They haven't taken advantage of yet.
And now that is Brown's fourth foul with 6:25 to go. And Mendel hits her first free throw to give the Boomers the lead again, 32-31. Like I said, with 6:25 to go in the fourth quarter.
Mendel now with 7 points, trying to add to that.
Second free throw was no good. Brought in by Lucy O'Hara for the Elkettes. And as she brings the ball up the floor, she is going to be fouled by Taylor Floyd.
That one, as she was coming across half court there, unfortunately, and it is the fourth foul for Floyd now. First of the quarter for the Boomers. Now
we're seeing the Elkettes get really into foul trouble with two key players with 4 fouls. Or excuse me, I'm getting people mixed up.
We got
Floyd with 4 fouls.
Yes.
All right, so Garbarino at the top of the key. Garbarino drives it down the right side. She kicks the ball to O'Hara, who takes a 3-point from the right side. She misses the ball. Looked like the Elkettes were going to get the ball. Ball's poked away, I believe, by Bailey Nelson out of bounds.
And a good job by O'Hara, I got to admit, to use that ball fake to free up that three. Just couldn't take advantage of it.
Now Caitlin Culp coming on the floor for the Boomers.
She got some good rest. Has had a really good varsity debut, has Miss Culp.
Yeah, she had
fantastic.
Ava Miller coming off the floor. Elkettes inbound to Brown, top of the key. Brown's sizing up Floyd. She pulls up a long two-point jumper. No good. Culp comes down with the rebound. Boomers push. Culp hits Floyd, and there's nobody in front of her. She dishes off to Douglas Fisher, who misses the layup, but Floyd follows up with a 34-31 Boomers with 5:42 to go in the fourth quarter.
Rare do you see Douglas Fisher miss a wide open layup. Good follow by Floyd.
And O'Hara makes a move, kind of takes Lexi Mendel's shoes off. She goes up for a layup, misses it. She misses her own layup. Santilli comes down with the rebound.
I think a jump ball on that one.
And then they called a jump ball after that. So
Oak City keeps it.
Santilli inbounds the ball to Brown. At the top of the key, she's guarded by Floyd. Brown goes down the left side. She kicks it back to Santilli. Santilli misses the jumper, pulled down by Taylor Floyd, who is then fouled. And I think this is going to go.
They're pointing that way.
They called a jump. They called a jump.
Ball. Thought for a minute they might have called a foul, but they called a jump, so Boomers get it off the air.
I thought that might have been a foul too, and that would have been Brown's 5th foul. So I think Elk City got away with one right there. So with 5:24 to go, Boomers are at 34-31. Inbound to Mendel, who pushes the ball up to Douglas Fisher, back to Mendel, who then throws across the court to Bailey Nelson, who finds Floyd in the middle of the floor, and the Boomers turn the ball over. Garbarino gets the ball. She comes down. It's an easy layup. 34-33 Boomers with 5 minutes to go in the fourth. Boomers having trouble with this pressure.
And they'd missed Colt deep on the trying to get it up the court. She had been open.
Yeah, Boomers.
Coach Moore screaming for a timeout.
Boomers finally get the ball across the timeline, but Coach Moore had been calling timeout. She finally got the timeout, so it's going to be a 30-second timeout for the Boomers with 4:55 to go in the game.
As Boomers lead 34-33. Great Plains Bank, Heritage, Trust, Respect. Those are the things that make Great Plains Bank great. With deep roots across Oklahoma and Texas, they are in touch with the communities in which their customers live and work. Also, Compass Athletics, from sports equipment to championship trophies and everything in between. 2024 Main Street, Woodward, 580-256-7045. Great Plains Bank, Compass Athletic, powering Boomer Sports all season long on KMZE FM Woodward.
Coach Ham for the Elkettes having another animated conversation with one of the officials. So I think he's going to have to watch out because it looked like the official's getting a little frustrated with
Well, and I won't say Coach Ham's a hothead, but he's a passionate coach. And we've seen that from him in previous years. He defends his girls. He wants them to play hard, and he's going to, I wouldn't say work over the rest, but he's going to clarify, right? So that's kind of what most coaches are going to do and should do in those situations. So he does sometimes ride that line a little bit, but for the most part, does a pretty good job on it.
Reset the floor for the Boomers as they hold a 1-point lead, 34-33. On the floor for the Boomers, you have Floyd, Nelson, Mendel, Culp, and Douglas Fisher with 4:54 to go in the game. The Boomers get the ball up or across the timeline to Culp. Culp to the left side to Mendel. Mendel takes a couple dribbles to her right. And Mendel's going to take it all the way to the hole down the right side. She's going to miss the layup. And going up for the rebound was Culp Garbarino. And Culp is going to knock Garbarino kind of out of her space. And Culp is going to be charged with a foul.
Yeah, Culp just, again, trying to hustle there. We talked about somebody needing to, push the board, push the tempo on those boards a little bit and try to get some offensive chances, and a little bit too much. Her third foul.
And Brown, who had been off for about a minute to get a break, she is back on the floor for the Elkettes as O'Hara brings the ball up the floor. O'Hara drives, kicks it back out to Garbarino. Garbarino loses the ball, comes down with it, kicks it out to Brown, who misses from 3 on the right side of the floor. And the loose ball is going to go out of bounds. It's going to stay with the Elkettes. Coming on the floor now for the Boomers is going to be Ava Miller. She's going to replace Caitlin Culp.
Good minutes again from Culp. At least you love the physicality, the effort, the hustle.
Inbound goes to O'Hara at the top, or goes to Brown at the top of the key. She's going to dump it off. She's going to dump it off the right elbow of Satilli, who's just going to pull up for a kind of a floater, and she makes it. Boomers turn it over on the inbound. Satilli with the steal. Elk City now has the ball, but O'Hara on the right side of the floor. In the right corner, she dribbles. She dumps it off to Satilli in almost the same spot. She hits her second shot, 3:55 to go. The Elk City Elkettes are up 37-34. And Boomers almost turned the ball over again on the inbound, but the ball goes out of bounds. It's going to stay with the Boomers underneath the basket.
Yeah, the pressure right now, too much from Elk City. Starting to hit shots. They have outscored the Boomers over the course of the last quarter from 4 minutes in the third to 4 minutes now, 21-10.
Boomers push the ball. Bradley Douglas Fisher standing at half court. She finds Floyd wide open underneath the basket, but she gets a little too far underneath the basket. She kicks it out to Douglas Fisher coming up for the right wing, who drives it in and lays it up.
15 for Douglas Fisher, pulls it back within one.
And right back down the floor is Elk City as Blakely Ball drives the baseline, and she goes up for a wild shot, and she is fouled.
Yeah, it looked like for a moment that Douglas Fisher ripped it away from her with a clean block, but they're going to say a little bit too much as Douglas Fisher got it on top of her trying to force that.
That's only Briley's second foul of the game, third Boomer foul of the quarter. And Ball misses her first free throw. Scores remains 37-36.
Those free throws again, I mean, huge for both teams in the second half. The misses, I should say.
Ball's second free throw is no good. Brought down by Ava Miller. She falls to the ground. She passes it out to Bailey Nelson, who pushes the ball at the floor, finds Douglas Fisher for a layup from the right side. Boomers take the lead, 38-37 with 3:15 to go in the fourth quarter. Elk City again push.
Douglas Fisher, big block. My goodness.
Boomers again push the ball up, or Elk City pushes the ball up the court. Kylie Coffey had an opportunity for a nice, easy jumper, and Douglas Fisher comes in and swats it away.
Said, no, not today.
Inbound goes to the top to Brown, who dumps it back off to who turns it over.
Yeah.
And Brown comes up with the ball. She passes it up to Lexi Mendel. Mendel kind of loses control of the ball, and she is ultimately fouled.
Great job by Taylor Floyd off the inbound, stayed in Brown's face. As soon as Brown passed over to Sotilli, Floyd able to rip that away. So Taylor Floyd with a huge steal, and foul will be on the floor, and that will be charged against O'Hara. Her second, third foul for Elk City.
Floyd inbounds it right underneath to Lexi Mendel, who kind of finds a soft spot. She goes up for the shot and is fouled.
Yeah, not much an opportunity.
I think this is going to be on Brown.
Oh, it is. That's huge. That's number 5. Wow, so Abby Brown fouls out with 20 points, 20 of the 37 for Elk City. That's huge. That's a competent ball handler now gone too.
Yeah, they're, by far Elk City's best player goes out with 3 minutes to go. The Boomers are up 38-37. And Lexi Mendel is at the line for 2 free throws.
They'll put in Kylie Coffey to replace Brown. So it's O'Hara, Campbell, Gabarino, Ball, Sotilli, Coffey for Elk City.
Mendel's. I thought that was 2 free throws.
Yeah, it is. It's gone back to. That's a new rule. I mean, we adopted that last year for the first year, as far as the shooting foul. So and it was.
Yeah, that was a shooting foul. I think that's why I was confused. And the ref kind of looked. I was like, what's going on? So yes, Mendel misses the first free throw. She lines up for the second free throw. That free throw is no good, but Ava Miller looks like she had control, but she has stepped out of bounds as she gained control. So the ball goes to the Elkettes underneath the basket with 2:56 to go. Woodward leading 38-37.
Good effort by Miller.
O'Hara brings the ball down the floor along the right side. They bring it across to Kylie Coffey on the left side. She kicks it back out to Hara at the top of the key, who then passes over the ball. Ball back to O'Hara. And Elk City is going to kind of move this ball around. Garbarino now has the ball at the top. On the right wing, he passes over to Ball again. Elk City with good ball movement here. They're really kind of trying to slow this pace down a little bit and make sure they get a good opportunity. Garbarino finds Coffey in the lane. Coffey goes up for the shot, and she is fouled.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. you know, Elk City trying to be patient with Brown out. They can't really force the tempo in the half court and try to find that right look. And it's going to be, looks like on the floor.
It's going to be on the floor. The foul's going to go against Ava Miller.
Her fifth.
Her fifth personal foul. So now the players fouled out for both teams. Kate Culp is going to come on the floor for Miller's first game in over a year. It's not how she wants to go out. She played well.
Played with some effort for sure.
And Coffey hits a long three from the left wing to give the Elkettes a 40-38 lead with 2:11 to go. And I believe that Elkettes are going to take a timeout. This is going to be a full timeout for the home team.
Yeah, Coach Ham instantly called for it after the big made three. That was Coffey's first made basket of the game. And, you know, her along with Ball have not been afraid to launch some of those shots. And she finally converts on one. And, boy, what a swing this has been. Both these teams fighting back and forth. R5 Custom Embroidery. When you work with R5, you can count on a quick, fun, and enjoyable process with results that consistently exceed your expectations. Come chat with their screen printing experts about customized apparel. 817 Main Street, Woodward. 580-256-3579. Also Western Drug, 1021 Oklahoma Avenue in Woodward. They've got a friendly and caring staff and a drive-through window that is awfully convenient. Always excellent service as well. 580-256-5586. R5 Western Drug, powering Boomer Sports.
So coming out of the timeout, the home team, Elk City, has a 40-38 lead over the Boomers with 2:11 to go. With 2:11 to go, the Boomers are going to have the ball on the Elk City end of the court. Resetting the floor for the Boomers, you have Taylor Ford, Bailey Nelson, Lexi Mendel, Caitlin Culp, and Briley Douglas Fisher. No pressure here by the Elkettes.
Yeah, trying to play it safe on that defensive side. Don't want to give up anything easy. Trying to make the Boomers earn it here in the final 2 minutes.
Mendel gets the ball across half court. She goes up to the left side to Bailey Nelson. Nelson dribbles to her right. She finds Mendel on the right wing, who hits Floyd in the right corner. Floyd is trapped.
And Coach Moore got the timeout before they could call that jump ball in the Smartwood area because possession arrow was in favor of Elk City. So now if you're Coach Moore here, you got to corral the units and say, hey, you know, we've been playing up tempo. Now we got to find a way to execute here in the half court, right? And that's something that at times last year for Woodward was an issue. You know, you go back to that. That was something they tried to work on all year. It got better. But this has been a really kind of up-tempo game, so a smart call by Coach Ham to try to force Woodward to slow it down.
Yeah, in the Boomers right here, they really need to, you know, just be smart. I think sometimes we talked about at halftime, they get rushed, and we went through a good stretch in the third quarter where they weren't rushing the ball. Well, you know, now you've got about 2 minutes to go in the game. You're down by 2 in a half court set. You're going to be a little antsy. So you just got to be smart. You know, if that pressure comes, you've got to know where somebody's out on the floor, get it to them, or drive, attack. A lot of times they're coming out, they're trying to, they're essentially trapping, you know, especially on the wings and in the corner. Try to cut that if you can.
We'll see if the Boomers could definitely do that. Don't forget the boys, of course, coming up right after this, running a little long with the girls as we cross that 8 o'clock hour. So also kind of give you an update or two on that OU Georgia Tech game if you're trying to tune in for that. Would have been on Z92 tonight. Imagine we'll see a lot more of what we saw at the girls game for that boys game. Physical, probably up and down at times. Should be a fun one.
The same 5 Boomers on the floor for the Boomers with 1:54 to go. Floyd inbounds to Douglas Fisher. Douglas Fisher goes across the floor, hits Bailey Nelson. 3 from the top of the key, no good. Douglas Fisher with the offensive rebound on the second chance, and they call an offensive foul.
She had made the shot, kind of extended that arm a little bit. I saw it. Little chicken wing. Wasn't aggressive, but enough for the offensive foul. That is unfortunate.
It's like I said early in the game. A lot of times you extend that arm, that's going to be an automatic foul. 1:44 to go. Elk City has the ball with a 2-point lead, 40-38. They bring the ball up court. O'Hara now has the key from the left wing. Back to O'Hara. O'Hara Boomers, great pressure here on O'Hara.
Oh,
O'Hara
in the backcourt.
There we go.
Yeah.
Tries to get the ball to Garbarino. The ball slips out of her hand and goes back court. So great job by the Boomer defense to force a turnover with 1:24 to go, down 40-38.
It really harassed O'Hara, who was trying to get it to either Coffee or Garbarino, and really couldn't do much with either of them. So great job, forced the turnover.
Inbound goes to Colt. Floyd with the ball on the left side. She goes up to Mendel near half court. Mendel finds Nelson on right wing. Nelson dumps it off to Colt, who takes a shot too hard off the glass. And Garbarino rebounds the ball. She kicks to Harris. Harris pushes the ball up the floor for the Elkettes. She finds Coffee from the left corner, who misses the shot. Floyd comes down with the rebound. She pushes the ball up the floor. Pushes the ball up the floor. Ball is about to go out of bounds. Ball gets tipped back into bounds.
Oh, boy, that was a weird sequence. Two Boomers, Douglas Fisher and Nelson didn't realize they were both there at the end trying to keep it in. Neither one of them able to get to each other. And then ahead, Floyd tried to bat it away. That got knocked out of bounds. Elk City possession, 50 seconds left. They lead by 2.
O'Hara dribbles at the top of the key. Garbarino off the right wing. She dribbles in, but pull-up jumper, no good. Floyd comes down with the defensive rebound. Floyd trying to push the ball, gets a little wild. The Colt comes up with it. Boomers, 30 seconds left. Bailey Nelson over to Briley Douglas Fisher, who finds Lexi Mendel cutting underneath the basket. She has to pass it out, but she throws it away. Coffee comes up with the steal, and she is fouled by Bailey Nelson underneath the Elk City basket with 19.8 seconds to go.
Now, it wasn't a shooting foul, but that is going to be 5 on Boomers already, so there's going to be 2 shots here for Coffee. Nelson didn't do much, just a little bit of a bump. So now it comes down to his free throws with 19 seconds. Oak City on top, 40-38.
Coffee makes her first free throws. We talked about the free throw shooting. You know, this is a time where what really counts, you know, and so she extends the lead 41-38 with 19.8 seconds before her second free throw. Coach Moore is going to take a full timeout for the Boomers.
Yeah, Coach Moore wants to talk about it, go over those scenarios of, hey, if it's a miss, here's what we're looking to do. If it's a make, here's what we're looking to do. That was the last timeout, at least according to the Elk City scoreboard, for the Boomers as well. So she's playing on the front end. We see that from coaches. Some like to wait till the make or the miss and then take the timeout. Others like to get ahead of it. Coach Moore and that head of it crowd. For the Boomers, you're going to have to find a good shot quick. And like you mentioned, the lead now 3 puts you in a spot where you're going to have to hunt for one, regardless of this make or miss. I do think, Eric, and you know, you've been in this situation. If Elk City makes a shot, makes a 4-point game, do you just stress getting a bucket for the Boomers? Do you not necessarily worry about a 3? You just try to go for the 2 and then get the quick foul, maybe?
Yeah, I think, you know, especially the way that the Boomers have been able to push the ball kind of here late and in the second half. And I think that's part of the reason why the timeout is taken now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times the Boomers have been able to get the inbound before Elk City's able to set up in their press. So if the Boomers could get the ball down the floor and get a quick 2, maybe even we've seen multiple times where, you know, the Boomers are fouled on the layup. So you get the 3-point play the old-fashioned way,
right?
You know, and then either way you still got to play defense. So, you know, I say push the ball up, try to get that quick 2.
And Elk City, 4 girls back to defend, nobody trying to get the rebound if it's a miss.
So Coffee at the line with her second shot. That shot is good. That extends the Elk City lead 42-38 with 19.8 seconds to go.
Coffee now with 5 points, 2 big free throws there for the Elkettes.
Lou Wyatt comes on the floor for the Elkettes. Ball's inbounded. Lexi Mendel brings the ball up the middle of the floor, across the timeline, and an errant pass. The ball is turned over. Blakely Ball comes up with the steal, and she is quickly fouled.
Tough break there. They're trying to get Colt on the right elbow to be able to maybe turn around, get a quick shot up, drive in, and just kind of off her fingertips a bit, a little offline, and big turnover there. Elk City might escape this one, as they do get Colt for her 4th foul.
Ball with the first of 2 shots in the bonus. And she makes that one. That it pushes their lead to 43-38 with 12.7 seconds.
That first one doesn't matter as much. Math is still in need of 3, needed 2. This one is the one that you hope, if you're the Boomers, they miss quickly.
And ball converts on the second of 2. Boomers inbound the ball with 10 seconds to go. 44-38 Elk City. Boomers get the ball up the floor. Lexi Mendel from the right corner takes a shot. It is long, and it is rebounded by Ball on the left side of the rim, and Elk City comes up with the victory in game 1 of the season, 44-38 over the Boomers.
We'll go ahead, step aside, take a break, and come back, put the post-game wrap on the girls, and get you set for the boys. You're listening to Boomer Basketball on Z92 and Boomer TV.
Life never stops moving. Between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety you expect, you can lose track of the miles and focus on what really matters, the memories made along the way. Stop in today at 2220 Main in Woodward to see your local Michelin dealer, Pipelines Tire.
Feel safe and secure with Arlo Wireless Outdoor Camera, available at Pioneer. Arlo offers top-notch protection with crystal clear video quality, rain or shine. Monitor your home from anywhere with remote smartphone access. Whether you're at home or on the go, Arlo keeps you connected to what matters most. Trust Arlo and Pioneer to keep your home safe and secure. Visit GoPioneer.com to get your Arlo wireless cameras today.
The girls fall to the Elkettes 44-38 in game 1 of the season. Back and forth affair, looking at your post-game stats for both squads. For Elk City, definitely the leader. We mentioned her in the pregame, the one you had to watch out for, Abby Brown, 20 of the Elkettes' 44 points. She did foul out in that fourth quarter, though. She got enough support from the rest of her squad. Also, Tilly finishes with 8 points, as well as Campbell Garbarino had some big buckets down the stretch. You look at 5 for Kylie Koff. You had some big free throws. 2 for Blakely Ball, who had the last couple points in the ball game, and 1 point on the night for Abby Harrell. For the Boomers, no surprise for them, led by Bradley Douglas Fisher. She had 17 points of her own. You get some support scoring from Lexi Mendel with 7. 5 from Taylor Floyd, 7 from Caitlin Culp. Had a great varsity debut to Culp. And then Bailey Nelson with a couple points for the Boomers as well. Eric, we knew it was going to be, I wouldn't say an uphill test, but we mentioned, again, a lot of experience coming back for the Elk City squad, a unit that finished the season really strong. I know it's not the result you wanted for the Boomers. You want to win that first game, but this was a good Elk City bunch, and you really competed with them, and at times looked like the better team.
Yeah, kind of like we said, they had a lot coming back. They've had a lot of pressure games. Yes, Bailey Nelson had played a lot last year, but this is really Culp's first time to get a lot of time. Taylor Floyd, really the first time she played pretty much the whole game. Came off a couple times, but the Boomers are still relatively young. They've got a lot of chemistry to figure out, and we talked about at halftime. I said, try to. Don't worry as much about Brown. Let everybody else beat you. They weren't playing all that well. Ultimately, some Elk City Elkettes stepped up, and especially when Brown went out. And that's just what teams who, kind of have that experience. That's what they do, and they know how to win now, and they're gonna pull those games out.
And to that point, we touched on it, but mentioned again, that's an Elk City squad that made areas last year. Made a big run postseason, and to your point about winning games, they kind of figured out down the stretch, okay, if we're going to win these close games, here's what we got to do. And they did get the right efforts, right people stepping up around them once Brown went down. So you got to give them credit there. I think a lot of good things for the Boomers to work on for sure on the girls' side. Pioneer unleash tomorrow's potential with Pioneer Fiber Internet. Get speed and reliability. SurfStream, stay connected with Pioneer Fiber. Also, Just Well Chevrolet in Shattuck, where Aussie is not just a word, it's how they drive every deal. Visit JustWellChevrolet.com or call 580-938-2122. Pioneer, Just Well Chevrolet, powering Boomer Sports this season. with that recap of the girls, we'll step aside, come back, and get you set for the boys game. It's the Boomers taking on the Elk City Elks for their first contest of the regular season. You're listening to Boomer Basketball on Z92 and Boomer TV.
For more than a century, Bank of Western Oklahoma has stood by our communities, understanding the unique culture and values that make Western Oklahoma special. As a locally owned and operated bank since 1908, we're not just bankers, we're your neighbors. We've seen generations grow, businesses flourish, and farms thrive. And we've been there every step of the way. Trust in a bank that shares your roots and works as hard as you do. Bank of Western Oklahoma, member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Back in Elk game up next, and breaking down these two teams, starting with the homestanding Elks. 7-19 team last year, but Eric, they returned some really good talent. They went from a young team for the most part last year to now senior heavy squad. Cole Bowie, a name we've talked about before with Elk City on the football side. He's a premier talent in basketball as well. Head coach Tyler Foley on Cole Bowie says he's an ultimate competitor, single-handedly take over a game, a good scorer who can take over when needed, but he could also set up his teammates really well. And no surprise, Coach Foley believes Cole Bowie going to be relied upon both ends of the floor this year should Elk City really want to press forward. He's the guy that you circle, similar to Abby Brown. It all begins and ends with him, and I don't want to simplify it that much, but he's the guy that if he's having a great night, Elk City's having a great night. If he's off, they're off.
Yeah, and you know we've seen what his leadership is on the football field, you know, and he's one of those kids that he's such an all-around athlete that carries over.
Yeah.
You know, and so they are going to go, you know, how he goes. You know, and Boomers, we're going to find out what the identity of this Boomers team is, and we're talking about that, you know. But, you know, Elk City is kind of I think, a step ahead of the Boomers as far as the progression of a program, just because a lot of these guys played together last year. You're adding some new pieces for this Boomer squad, you know, some key pieces. So, you know, this will be a good test for the Boomers tonight.
And speaking of new pieces for Elk City, Tyler Foley, the head coach, new for them. He was previously assistant at Arapahoe Butler, and for some of you out there that are in the area, that may sound like a familiar name. He was a Fargo star, played at Fargo, was a great basketball player for them during his time, graduated 2013, went on to go to school at Southwestern Oklahoma State University, graduated from there.
Boo.
And then got,
Sorry, it's just a natural reaction.
Then got into coaching and has worked his way up. Now this is his first real big opportunity, so you love to see a local guy get a chance like that. And interested to see what he does with the squad. He kind of pointed out on top of the senior, you know, Cole Bowie, there's a freshman he's really keeping his eye on, and Graham Eastham. You'll hear a lot of, he says, grand, strong, athletic guard, can score, defend, be lengthy. Says he's going to be a leader for this program in the future and will continue to get better. Really a coachable player, and you love to hear that from a freshman perspective, that you got a coachable kid out the gate that provides some good athleticism for you.
Yeah, we saw you know, some of these young kids over the past couple of years, and you know, Elk City has got players. They've always got good athletes down here. You know, basketball definitely is a secondary sport for the Elks, but you know, they've got the athletes. You know, one thing I did notice, kind of in the past, especially playing them, is, you know, sometimes they get a little undisciplined when it comes to as far as playing on the floor. Not necessarily, you know, the extra antics and things like that, just undisciplined play. And, you know, can the coaching change make some of those adjustments?
And we'll see if that's the case for the Boomers. 10-15 last year. Had districts against Weatherford, really tough. And then regionals had to deal, you know, with Cushing, who's a good squad, and fell there. But this team is returning essentially everybody. Yes, they lose Ethan Neal, who was the starter all last season, a great player, really upped his game into senior year. But you bring back Carter Reed, Jay Graff, Aaron Laredo, Connor Price, Cole Reed, Colt Moore. You add Mason Boring as a senior. He comes out and plays. You get the freshman Caden Gaines, Gates Hutchins back, Connor Sunderland. I mean, pretty much everybody that contributed last year for this Boomer squad outside of Ethan Neal is back, and talking with those guys, they could feel that chemistry. You know, last year, first year under head coach Kayla Gaines, everybody was trying to figure each other out, speak the same language. and talking with the players and the coaching staff. Also bring back Greg Ruby this year on the boys staff. They are excited at the possibilities for this team, Eric.
Yeah, and you talked about the 10-15 record for the Boomers. That's one thing too, that there was a lot of close games that they lost.
They left probably 3 to 4 wins on the table.
Yeah, I mean there was multiple games where they had significant leads in the third quarter, and came back. And now that they've kind of fought through all those things, started playing a lot better towards the end of the year. Yeah. Kind of like the Elk City girls team. Started playing better as the year went along, get to the end of the year. Didn't lose a whole lot. Now they've added a couple pieces to the mix that is gonna be huge for them. It's gonna be a fun year to see what this squad does.
And they've got a deep JV team that you might see a couple guys kind of leak up to the varsity over the course of the year. Coach Gaines kind of going with a little smaller roster probably to begin the season in terms of that, but you might see some of those young guys leak up as well into the varsity ranks. We'll take you courtside for the starting lineups. All right, so there's your starting lineups for both squads. For the Boomers, going with Carter Reed, the senior, Gage Hutchins, the junior, freshman Caden Gaines, the senior, Connor Price, and the senior, Connor Sunderland. For Elk City will be Graham Eastham, Tucker Garza, Cole Bowie, Damon Jackson, and Hooper Stover. You got to name a Hooper, you got to start.
Exactly.
And he does. So there's your starting lineups for both squads. Boomers, like the girls, wearing the road black uniforms, black tops, black bombs, some white and gold trimming. The logos, the gold numbers and text trimmed in white. And for Elk City, the home white uniforms, there'll be Caden Gaines tipping off against Graham Easton, freshman on freshman. And the Boomers win the tip. They work right to left to begin the game. Reed in the quarter. Hutchins launches the three straight away, and that one rims out no good. Rebound fought for, and it is ultimately taken by Gage as he's able to control it back for the Boomers. And they dump it down low to Connor Sunderland, who opens the scoring for Woodward on the season.
And Caden Gaines with his first assist of his high school career.
And you were talking about, on the way up here, if he could settle into that distributor role, knowing the pressure's going to be on him to really free up the Boomer offense. As Elk City the other way for their first possession, Boomers lead 2-0, 7:25 remaining first quarter. Top of the key with it is Eastham as they work at left wing to Bowie, trying to size up his man. Swing it back around, still searching. To Jackson now, left side. Pumps, drives in for a long two. That one wayward off mark. Rebound grabbed by Gaines. He'll flip ahead to Price. Price loses his footing but keeps the dribble and prets him on the right side. As they find Hutchins wide open again, left corner, another three. This one just a bit short. He's tried a couple, had been able to do it. And Caden Gaines trying to jump in and get a rebound and draws his first foul.
Yeah, that's one thing that you know, Caden's going to have to watch, especially these early games, as he's really excited, is not try to do too much.
So 6:57, first quarter. Boomers still lead 2-0, but Elk City with the possession. They break the pressure. Bowie left wing, attacking on Hutchins. Now on Sunderland. Nice dump pass to Garza. Puts up the tough leaner. Sunderland affects the shot. Rebound fought for. Gaines comes away with it for the Boomers. Behind the back dribble. Flips ahead to Price, left wing. Back to Gaines. Little lob and layup. Good.
Great job by CP to recognize Gaines come down the right side for really an alley-oop layup type of.
So 4-0, Boomers on top with 6:27. Gaines with the tip pass. Price steals it. Up to Gaines for the two-handed jam. The freshman with 4 early, and the Boomers race out ahead of Elk City 6-0 to begin this one. And a quick timeout by Coach Full wants to talk about it with his guys. And there's that defensive explosiveness that we might be able to see from the Boomers this season.
Yeah, we talked about it coming up here. We talked a little bit about it during the girls pregame, but you know, the Boomers, they're going to want to let their defense create their offense, you know, and we've already seen it here the first couple minutes of the game, getting them to sleep.
Great Plains Bank, Heritage Trust, Respect, those are the things that makes Great Plains Bank great. Deep roots across Oklahoma and Texas. They're in touch with communities in which their customers live and work. Great Plains Bank powering Boomer Sports this season. So have a quick timeout by Elk City and Coach Full. Boomers on top, 6-0 to begin this one. 6:22 left in the first quarter. As of Easton inbounding to Bowie, full court, sees some pressure. They get ahead to Jackson, left side. He goes into the paint on the block on Connor Price. Shot a bit off. Ball batted around. Sunderland takes it, feeds it ahead to Hutchins. Boomers pressing again, dumping it down to Carter Reed. Left baseline for the quick jumper. That one a bit strong. Rebounded backside by Bowie. Almost stripped away by Price, who knocked it out of bounds.
Yeah, but you know, we talked about with the the defense getting up the floor quick. You just saw it, even there on the rebound. The Boomers are not gonna, they're not gonna slow down. They're not gonna, take their time. They're gonna get the ball up and try to get the easy basket.
So 6 minutes even remaining. First quarter is Elk City with the possession. They do break the press down to Garza, who blows the wide open layup. Rebound on the backside by Sunderland. Feeds ahead to Hutchins. Boomers almost up for the
that was close.
backcourt violation as it goes to Carter Reed, top the key. Reed switching his number this year from 2 to 0. Russell Westbrook staying. I'm with it. Let's go. Price, top of the key. Trying to set up the offense for the Boomers as they want to work some half court. Screen set for him by Reed. Price all the way to right block. Kicks out Sunderland, deep three, right wing. That's short. Rebound, though, taken by Elk City and Jackson. Sunderland's young brother shaking his head over here beside us. As Elk City back the other way. Bowie, left wing three with some pressure in his face. That's high off the iron. Rebound taken underneath by Connor Price. Good bounce out by Sunderland. Price down the middle of the lane, kicks out left side. Hutchins another three tip. This one finally goes. And Gates Hutchins with his first basket of the season. And the Boomers lead 9-0. 5 minutes remaining first quarter.
If you're one of the Boomer opponents this year, you can't let up when they're bringing the ball down the floor, because they're gonna lip the kick when they get the opportunity.
And a quick substitution instance here. We'll see Jake Graff, Aaron Laredo first off the bench for the Boomers. Take out Hutchins and Reed. So it's Gaines, Laredo, Price, Graff, and Sunderland on the floor for the Boomers. Says Elk City with the possession. Far side inbound. Easton throws in the backcourt to Bowie. 4:51 remains first quarter. Boomers lead 9-0. Bowie picked up by Laredo. Goes over, tries to pass it ahead, but it's blighted away by Sunderland. Stolen by Laredo for the layup, a bit short. Sunderland, though, with the rebound and now fighting underneath. He's swinging those arms. Possession arrow gives it to Elk City on the tie-up.
Yeah, it's, Laredo's got to have that layup. But Sunderland also, when he got that rebound, instead of going straight back up, he tried to kick it back out. You tell young guys, anytime you get a chance, go straight back up with it.
As Elk City trying to push it ahead, they get to Stover. Stover swatted from behind by Laredo. Oh, but they say a foul as Laredo clean block initially, but too much body after the block.
Yeah, it's
foul.
Exactly what it was. He got the ball clean for the block, but it was the momentum of his body came down on top of him.
So the only 2 fouls of the quarter so far are on the Boomers. One on Gaines, one now on Laredo, as Hooper Stover heads to the free throw line looking for the first points for the Elks. First free throw does indeed fall. So 9-1, 4:30 remaining first quarter. It's Tucker Garza getting ready to check back in. in a second for Elk City. Might be taking out Logan Webb. We'll see. As the second free throw for Stover rattles in as well. So Stover actually sit in favor of Tucker Garza after the 2 made free throws. As Lixton Mong also in for Elk City. Boomers with possession, leading 9-2. Price, top of the key, works around the screen on the right wing, goes up to Laredo. Patient in the half court, trying to get Sunderland off a roll, gets tipped over to Gaines, left wing for the 3. Pressure in the face, Gaines nailed it over the other freshman, Easton. 7 points for Caden Gaines.
And that quick release, mentally he's a step ahead. He knows what he wants to do. And he's able to get that quick release.
Elk City again breaking some of the pressure by the Boomers as they get Garza top the keys, double teamed by Graff and Price, and a foul on the Boomers. I think Price came in and reached in. That's who they get. Connor Price, his first foul of the game, third of the quarter for the Boomers. They lead though 12-2. Gage Hutchins will check in for Price.
Carter Reed back on the floor, replacing Laredo.
So it's back to your starting 5 with the exception of Graff, who's in there as well. As Elk City with possession in the backcourt, Bowie top of the key, flips it over almost out of bounds with Logan Webb. He drives right baseline, tries to feed inside. That's batted away, stolen by the Boomers. Reed flips it to Graff. Now he's pickpocketed by Bowie. 2-on-2 the other way. Bowie lobs it up to Webb, pass off the mark, and it goes out of bounds. Boomers get it back. Interesting that Webb skied for it. He had the height, just a little missed time.
Yeah, I think the pass was maybe a little too high for him as well. Excuse me, a little too high for it as well. Good job, Connor. Was kind of down there, kind of forcing that pass to happen though, and he kind of stepped into the lane, and so overall pretty good defense.
Boomers have possession, right wing. Reed hands off to Gaines. Another quick pull-up 3. Another basket by Caden Gaines. He's got 10 to start. 10 of the 15 for the Boomers.
He's one of those guys. Whenever he gets locked in, it's hard to get him off. It's just as long as he stays within himself, he can change the game.
Bowie the other way for Elk City, trying to drive to the paint. Ooh, draws the charge. Draws the block. Connor Sunderland thought it was a charge, stepped in there and gets the foul. Connor Sunderland loves to try to draw those charges.
Yeah, that's one thing that always impressed me last season was how many charges he was willing to step in there. And just his growth and his strength and being physical has just changed a lot. Since especially since the sophomore season.
Cole Bowie gets on the board for the first time tonight as he makes the first free throw. We see Isaiah Washington and Cole Moore into the ball game for the first time. They'll take out Reed as well as Sunderland. Second free throw on the way for Bowie. That one rattles around, just out, and now the rebound tipped out to Hutchins. He'll flip it ahead to Gaines. Boomers lead 15-2, 2:55 first quarter, and Hutchins kind of chunked that one up from the left wing, a little offline there.
Yeah, that's why they always tell you get set. He was not set at all and didn't have his legs under him. And air ball short.
So Garza takes it across the timeline, working on Graff. Kicks it over to Bowie, left corner. He'll drive into the paint, about the free throw line, gets tripped up, loses the handle. Webb collects, hops over Bowie, puts up the floater, just popped out. Athletic move by Webb. Gaines with the board, flips it to Washington, who's pickpocketed by Garza. Up and under, nearly makes the first attempt and follows with the second. So Tucker Garza on the board with 2 points. 15-5, Boomers the other way. Moore gets into the paint quickly, but goes through some contact, no call, and the shot off. And it goes to Elk City. So 15-5, Woodward ahead, 2:16 first quarter, as we'll see Sunderland back in, as well as Price. They'll take out Graff and Washington.
That was a perfect example of what we've been talking about the Boomers pushing the ball. No matter when it is, they're just going to do everything they can to get the ball up the floor, and we know the speed that Colt Moore has.
Bowie has it, left side for Elk City, goes top to key. Jackson, long straightaway 3. That's a brick off the right side, picked up by Sunderland. Go to Price, flips ahead to Gaines, left wing double team. Gaines dumps it down to Hutchins, who cuts to the basket and gets the shot in through some contact. He's got 5.
We know Gage can shoot the 3, but those are the things you want to see him doing. He's willing to go in there and take the shot.
Tucker Garza with a quick floater the other way. He's got 4. 17-7, Boomers still outpacing Elk City with 1:35 first quarter. Connor Price wants to slow down the tempo as he walks across the timeline, working right to left in front of us, behind the scorer's table. As Price gives it to Gaines, high, right wing. Finds Sunderland, left elbow, and now back cut to Hutchins, to Moeller. They work back up top. Sunderland thought about the three, instead just hands it back to Price. In the left corner, Gaines open for another three, takes it, that one offline, though Price able to collect the board. Gaines again in rhythm, left wing three falls. Caden Gaines 13 in his first quarter on varsity. 20-7, Boomers on top, minute left in the first quarter. Elk City the other way, Garza trying to fight in. Tries to throw the dump pass and just pushed it down Sunderland, no call. Gaines made the steal, it should have been a call. Gaines flips it ahead to Moore. They go back to Hutchins left wing. Sunderland has collected himself, top of the key. Working to Price in the corner, Moore wide open for three, takes it. That one just rolls out. 40 seconds remains in the first quarter.
You can see this fast-paced play that the Boomers like to have. Elk City's gassed. They are tired. There was no defense at all in that possession.
And they're not super deep. You're not going to see a lot of subs for Elk City. As Webb on the baseline trying to feed it around his man, and that's out of bounds, thrown out of the way. It was intended for Bowie, so the Boomers create another turnover with 25 seconds remaining first quarter, and we'll see Caden Gaines take his first breath as he'll come to the bench. Carter Reed back in. Gaines goes to the bench with 13 points in this first quarter.
Coach Gaines using that quarter break to her advantage.
Like we saw Coach Ham do for Elk City.
And Caden out to get a break.
So 12 seconds remains first quarter. Boomers with it. Top the key, Moore, 9. Over to Price, left wing. Back up to Hutchins. They swing it to Reed, right side, 5 seconds. Drives to the paint, gets stripped at poke. It's taken away by Elk City on the ground, and that's how we end the first quarter with Boomers on top, 20-7 after 1 over the Elks. We'll step aside. You're listening to Boomer Basketball on Z92 and Boomer TV.
This back-to-school season, give your home the connection it deserves with Go Pioneer Fiber Internet. Experience the power of Wi-Fi 6 technology for smoother streaming, gaming, and learning. And with the Go Pioneer Smart Wi-Fi app, managing your home network is a breeze. Choose from multiple plans with symmetrical speeds for lightning-fast uploads and downloads. Get your family school-ready with Go Pioneer Fiber Internet. Sign up today at GoPioneer.com.
You're tackling an endless to-do list every day. It may seem like a thankless job, but you know better. It's the little things that matter most. That's why you appreciate the enduring value of the Michelin Defender tire. Designed for doers like you, Michelin's longest-lasting tire keeps you on the go longer, so you have one less thing to worry about on your next road trip. Stop in today for miles of uncompromised safety and performance. Visit your local Michelin dealer, High Plains Tire, at 2220 Main in Woodward.
Back at Elk City, ready to begin the second quarter between the Boomers and the Elks. Woodward races out to a 20-7 advantage in the first frame, powered by 13 points from freshman Caden Gaines, who is back into the ballgame to begin the second quarter. Boomers start with the possession. As we go back to that starting lineup of Reed, Sunderland, Price, Hutchins, and Gaines. Reed takes it off the inbounds, feeds it to Price. Left side in the corner, they go to Hutchins. Gaines with it on the wing, guarded tightly by Eastholm, the young freshman for Elk City. Swinging around to Sunderland in the right corner. Back up to Price, bit of a wild pass, collects it. Boomers trying to work the half court to begin the second quarter. Top the key back to Gaines, pulls up in Eastholm's face. That one well offline on the three. Good defense by Eastholm. As Elk City comes away with the board, Bowie with possession. Boomers respected Bowie's speed. They'll back off a bit, go to Eastholm, right wing. Eastholm with the dribble, not much pressure. Gaines looking to size him up. Top of the key, 7:20 remaining in the half. Boomers leading 20-7. Hutchins though with the steal on a pass attempt to Bowie. Hutchins wide open for the layup right side and gets it.
Yeah, Gage had been guarding him really well. He just waited till the right opportunity to pick that off, and they came back to Bowie.
7 points for Hutchins, and a block as Damon Jackson drives in for Elk City, left side, and Sunderland gets his second foul of the game. Sunderland tried to get set to no avail, though, to the refs.
Yeah, I don't know if Coach Gaines was kind of talking about how he kind of slid over, but I think it was as much about him falling back as he went to take the shot as it was him sliding over.
So Jackson at the free throw line. First attempt. That one catches the back iron out the right side. As Washington will step in for Sunderland, who has those 2 fouls. So Washington saw a bit of time in the first quarter.
Connor's mom let the official know.
She always will. She's passionate, man.
She is.
Very passionate. Second free throw from Jackson. That's good. Jackson with his first points of the game makes it 22-8. Boomers on top as they've got the possession the other way. Price, nice spin move from the right wing, drives in for the floater off the glass, too strong. Some contact, no call, picked up by Oak City. Bowie the other way, left side, working on Gaines, kicks it out to Jackson in the corner. He goes baseline and Gaines just rejects him straight up. Jackson keeps possession though. They swing it back out to Bowie, top the key, resits. 6:40 to go in the half. Boomers on top 22-8. Garza takes the left elbow, now hand off to Bowie. He drives up and under, kicks it out to Eastholm. Free throw line jumper, that one just a bit strong. Rebound batted out, given to Carter Reed from an Elk City player. Reed feeds to Price, left wing, pulls up for the three. That one offline to the right, air ball. And Eastholm trying to save it, can't. He's out of bounds. Boomers keep the possession.
Yeah, and that CP there wasn't set, took an off balance shot, airballed it. And that's something that, you know, can happen whenever you are moving the ball that much, or moving the ball up the court that fast. Boomers just got to slow down at the right time and get set.
Price comes out, gives away to Graff. They feed it inside on the inbound to Washington. Nice move to get the basket.
Really good move. He's another kid that over the past year we've seen the improvement from Isaiah Washington.
Yeah, he's worked hard to work on those feet. You know, that's not easy to do, and he's done it. His first basket makes it 24-8. Boomers, 6 minutes remaining in the half. Elk City with possession. Bowie high near the Elk City logo. So he's got Gaines guard him. Now steps up, takes a three. That one a bit too strong. Rebounded by Washington. Feeds ahead. Reed bounces it left wing to Hutchins. Trying to throw it in the middle to Graff. Poked by Bowie. Steal for Elk City as Jackson comes up with it. Now still back as Stover loses the handle. Hutchins takes it, feeds ahead to Graff. Draws the foul. The layup attempt right side. It goes flying into the boards. He's fine. Pops right up.
Great look by Hutchins to get Jake, and that's one thing that, you know, I talked about it actually during our football broadcast. Is he's a kid that will go hard to the basket every time, and right there he wasn't afraid to take the contact. Got knocked into the wall behind the basket. Great job by Jake.
Stover picked up the foul for Elk City, and it matches Jake's football ability too. As a receiver, he's that guy that's possession for the Boomers, right, and is not afraid to throw himself in there to try to hold on to a pass over the middle. That's not easy.
And that's why, you know, I've talked about where, you know, when I had him in 8th grade, he was the guy that I consistently was expecting to attack the rim when we needed it.
And he makes the second free throw, missed the first, so the Boomers lead 25-8, 5:30, first half. As Easton in the backcourt, working it ahead. They give it over to Bowie left wing, guarded by Hutchins. It's been Hutchins and Gaines so far, pretty much taking duties there.
Good defense by Gage.
Yeah, all in his face. Has to get a high screen. Now picked up by Graff, who's right in his face. Bowie has to pick up the dribble. He's in trouble. Finds a cutter into the lane. The floater, though, a little short. Second attempt swatted by Caden Gaines, although Elk City comes with the possession. But Graff still Stover's pass. A little behind the back by himself. Flips it to Gaines, and Gaines fouled all the way up for the dunk. Oh, beautiful defense again by the Boomers.
I don't know about you, but this is fun. This is fun right now. The Boomers, the Boomers playing great defense. They're pushing the ball up the floor. They're making good passes. There's been a couple errant shots where they're not getting set, but you know that's going to happen whenever you're moving the ball and getting up the floor as quick as you are.
They get Logan Webb for the foul, and Coach Full wants to talk about it before the free throws for Caden Gaines. Compass Athletics, from sports equipment to championship trophies and everything in between. 2024 Main Street in Woodward, 580-256-7045. R5. When you work with R5 Custom Embroidery, you can count on a quick, fun, and enjoyable process with results that consistently exceed expectations. Go chat with their screen printing experts about customized apparel. 817 Main Street in Woodward, or 580-256-3579. R5, Compass, powering Boomer Sports this season. And man, it has been, you know, I don't want to oversell it, but me and you leading up to the season, we're talking about it and the potential. We talked about the potential. Well, this team, with all the experience they brought back and it seems like they're really trusting the system that Coach Gaines is putting out there. They've kind of leaned into her coaching over the course of the season, or last season we saw that, right? And have really carried it so far this season. And I tell you what, when they play the way they designed to within the system, it can look a lot very fun out there.
Yeah, it can. As the season goes along, we're going to have games where the Boomers are going to struggle. And,
Sure.
you know, things don't seem to be mixing right. You know, but you hope that games like this come more often than the other. You know, and the Boomers take a big step this year in the program.
First free throw for Gaines at the line is good. He's got 14 of the 26. Boomers lead 26-8, 4:59 remaining first half. Gaines' second free throw smooth as well, nothing but that. So he's got 15. Press is on for the Boomers as Webb, Eastholm working across with Bowie. Eastholm in the middle, goes to Webb right side, who gets across the timeline, now picked up by Carter Reed. Ooh, shoved off a little bit, got away with it. Double team. His pass stolen away by Graff. Feeds ahead to Reed. Has Gaines. Gaines takes it and puts it in on the layup. Thought about the dunk and I think aborted it midway. So Gaines was 17 as the Boomers lead 29-8. Force a few turnovers now in a row. 4:30 left in the half. Oak City across the timeline with Webb near the scorer's table, right corner. They'll feed it over to Mong. He tries to get back out to Webb. That pass a little bit offline. Gaines tries to collect it, can't. Webb comes up with it. Back the other way, top of the key. Left wing goes to Stover for the three. That's strong. Rebound, fought for, taken by Eastholm. Rips it away from Gaines. Let's go back up to Bowie, who just casually resets with 4:05 left in the half. Oak City trailing 29-8.
Yeah, Eastholm came up with that rebound, but Gaines kind of got them long arms locked in there. But great job, you know, by Eastholm to hold on to it.
And Bowie driving somehow floats it up from the left side, and it goes in. That was a tough shot. Bowie with 3 points. Boomers quickly back the other way. Washington inside, just flips it in for the answer. He's got 4. Boomers 31-10 advantage, 3:40 remaining first half.
Yeah, and the way the Boomers set up kind of in their defense, it's kind of a zone press. They're not looking to do anything until the ball gets across half court. That's when they're looking to trap.
Bowie with a missed 3 from the left corner. Rebound taken by Gaines. Floats ahead to Reed, to Laredo's in there, left wing. Tries to get it down to Graff. That pass stolen away, eventually picked up by Stover, and Elk City will push back down the left side with Webb. He finds Bowie. Back over to Webb. 3:10 left in the half. Boomers lead 31-10 as Elk City has that possession. It looks like Connor Price, Colt Moore getting ready to check in for the Boomers on the next stoppage. As Bowie just holding it near the logo. That picked up by Graff. Boomers have played strong man defense in the half court. As they work it back over to Bowie right side. And now a 3 seconds of the lane called on Elk City. I believe it was an offensive foul.
Bringing an offensive foul
Okay.
here.
Okay, it was an offensive foul, and it looks like they will get Lexton Mong, the senior.
Yeah, like I said,
first.
oh, sorry. Like I said, the way the Boomers, you know, set up in their kind of their defense, it's more of a three-quarter court, kind of a zone press is what you want to call it, but you don't actually trap until you come across half court, but you're still forcing your opponent to pass the ball and move around it.
Price top key, gets a double screen, works it down to Colt Moore. He's hit some traffic and turns it over. They call it travel as he was getting batted at. So it's turnover from the Boomers with 2:35 left in the half. They still lead 31-10.
But between the way they play the defense and the way they push the ball, I mean, you could just see it on the faces of Elk City, just how tired they are right now.
Yeah, and we're still not even at halftime. Bowie working to the left side on the wing, trying to direct some traffic. That's contributed to the slower pace. Gets it to Stover in the left corner. Dribbles to the top of the key, picked up by Gaines as they work to Eastholm, who looks back to Coach Full. Now picked up by Hutchins tightly. Has to just flip it back to Crew Keys, who's into the ball game. The sophomore gives it right wing to Bowie. 2 minutes now even remain. Bowie attacking the right side on Price, but good job by Price to block him out and force him back. There's another reset by Elk City as they go left wing to Keys. He tries to drive on Hutchins. Dovell there, now picked up by Sutherland. Feeds it to Mong through the lane. Mong with a good take, but just runs out on the floater. And the rebound taken by Gaines ahead to Price down the right side in transition. Gets the block, has to kick it back out to Gaines. Top of the key, Moore, left corner. Hutchins tees up the 3, and that falls. Gage Hutchins with another three, and he's got 10. The other Boomer in double figures. They've combined for 27 Hema gains of the 34 for the Boomers. Minute 25, remaining in the half. Woodward on top, 34-10. In the backcourt, Eastholm has to flip it ahead far to Bowie, left corner. He's guarded by Moore. And again, Elk City just trying to, they don't want to play an up and down game right now with the Boomers, as the pass almost stolen by Gaines. A drive by Eastholm. Price tried to rip it away and get it off Eastholm's knee to no avail. It'll stay with Elk City as the ball rolls out.
Yeah, Elk City's not trying to push the ball and create. They're waiting for the Boomers to make a mistake, kind of get lulled to sleep a little bit, you know, and then they're going to try to take advantage.
Well, they found out early if the Boomers, or if they do try to push, it ain't there. Inbound, shot all the way by Mong, left corner, deep two, rebounded by Moore off the miss. Boomers push ahead to Reed, left side, drives, kicks out to Price, a little wild top the key. Now they settle it with Moore, 55 seconds remaining in the half. Boomers lead 34-10 with possession. Right corner, Sunderland, he'll tee up the three, that one pops out. Rebound fought for Eastholm, takes it underneath for Elk City, floats it ahead to Bowie, intercepted though by Hutchins. He was with them. 3-on-3 the other way, Hutchins over to Moore, right corner, or excuse me, Price, right corner. Now to Reed in the paint, and or just outside the paint, able to float it home.
What they have always liked about Carter is not afraid to pull up kind of in that intermediate range.
Right, and he said the preseason, hey, they give me that little mid-range, I'm on it. And there it was, his first basket of the game. Boomers lead 36-10. 17 seconds to go in the half. Elk City with it. Eastholm bounces to Bowie, drives to the paint, gets the layup left side. Bowie on a nice play there. He's got 5. Boomers trying to push back the other way with 9. To Reed with 6 on the left block, works his way in, takes a tough leaner. That's off the front iron. Rebound by Eastholm. Price trying to get it before the end of the half. He can't, and that's how we end the first half. Woodward takes a 36-12 advantage into the break over the Elks here in Elk City. Step aside, you're listening to Boomer Basketball on Z92, KMZE, FM Woodward, and Boomer TV.
Life never stops moving. Between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety you expect, you can lose track of the miles and focus on what really matters, the memories made along the way. Stop in today at 2220 Main in Woodward to see your local Michelin dealer, Pipelines Tire.
Tired of complicated Wi-Fi management? Go Pioneer Smart Wi-Fi makes it easy. With Go Pioneer Smart Wi-Fi, you can set your Wi-Fi password, view all your connected devices, and even run speed tests all from your phone. Need to set up parental controls? No problem. Simple, smart, secure. Stay connected and in control with Go Pioneer Smart Wi-Fi. Visit GoPioneer.com to learn more.
In Elk City as the Woodward boys lead the Elks 36-12 after 2 quarters. Let's take a look at your High Plains Tire halftime stats. High Plains Tire is where your dollar goes further. Visit them at 2220 Main Street in Woodward. And looking at the scoring for both squads, starting with the Boomers, the freshman, Kate Gaines, all over it. 13 points in that half, or excuse me, 17 points in that half, 13 in the first quarter, and then you get 10 from Gage Hutchins. He is the second lead scorer. A couple made threes for Hutchins, and for the rest of the scoring for the Boomers, 4 from Isaiah Washington, 2 from Carter Reed, and 1 from Jake Graff. As far as Elk City goes, 5 from Cole Bowie, 4 from Tucker Garza, 2 for Hooper Silver, and 1 for Damon Jackson. Only 4 made field goals in that half for Elk City.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes down to, you know, just the pressure from the Boomers. So we talked about, you know, during the commercial break, how we've been really impressed with Gage and how well Gage has played. You know, and that's forcing them to take bad shots, but they're also, because the Boomers are getting up and down the floor so quickly, and Elk City's kind of getting gassed. They don't have their legs on. Like they've had a lot of short shots. They've had a lot of short shots, a lot of long shots. You know, they're not. I don't want to say getting set, because I feel like they're getting set. They're just, because their legs are so tired already. they're struggling but taking good shots.
Yeah, I mean, they, again, only 4 made field goals in the half, no made threes for the Elks. And to your point, it was clear in that second quarter, Elk City realized real quick, hey, we ain't going to win a track race. Or, yeah, track race with these guys. Because that first quarter, it was all the Boomer pressure. And a lot of that was Elk City trying to push it. The Boomers, you know, Eric, it looks good on the scoreboard. I would say Coach Gaines is probably in there telling them, hey, what perfect in that first half. There was times where, similar to what we saw last year, they'd maybe get a little too sped up, force things a little too much, and that's something that they've gotten better at over the course of the last season, now the first game under Coach Gaines. But I feel like that's something that you're still going to battle with throughout the season.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of the key to where we're at, even though there's been some sloppy play, you know, we've made some bad passes here and there, a few turnovers, but you know, the score is 36-12 right now because of the defense.
Right.
You know, and it's a small sample size. I get that. This is our first game of the season. Elk City's going through their own transition right now. New coach, they got a freshman who's playing a significant amount of time. You know, but what's that? I got flying ducks coming around.
Yeah, they're trying to get rubber duckies in pools that have been pulled out to center court at both free throw lines. Kind of a fun deal. Throw a ducky was the promotion tonight. Or, my bad, chuck a ducky. That's
chuck a ducky. You had to pay for the ducky.
Yes.
And then you try to win something. But we get some Boomer fans that actually pay for some ducks, it looks like.
I don't blame them. If I'm a Boomer fan, why not? Why not?
But yeah, the defense to me has been the most. Caden has played well. We knew that Caden, when he gets locked in, he plays great. You know, but the defense overall has kind of been the impressive thing for me tonight.
Yeah, definitely has stood out in this first half. And, you know, you don't want to oversell it because they're going to get their true test Friday night in Weatherford. You get a huge step up. Cole Bowie is a great player, but when it's C.J. Dixon, the Sage twins, Walker Kennedy, that's a whole other level. It'll be interesting to see how the Boomers perform there. With that first half recap, the High Plains halftime stats, we'll step aside, take a break, and come back and get you set for the second half. You're listening to Boomer Basketball on Z92 and Boomer TV.
You're looking for a bank that understands your needs and works as hard as you do? Welcome to Bank of Western Oklahoma, proudly serving our area since 1908, offering free checking with no monthly fees and convenient mobile banking. Whether you're in Cordell, Elk City, Weatherford, Woodward, or any of our 6 locations, we're always nearby. Bank of Western Oklahoma, where the Western Oklahoma spirit is alive and well. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Between the Woodward Boomers and the Elk City Elks. Woodward on top 36-12 at the half. In case you missed it earlier, the girls fell a little bit short against the Elkettes in a good game, 44-38. And Eric, I mean, that was one where I think there was a lot of positives to build on. If you're the Boomer girls, saw a lot of intensity, a lot of good defensive effort against a very experienced Elk City squad. And at times made them really frustrated in terms of Elk City. You know, you saw a great debut on the varsity side from Caitlin Colt, sophomore, showing a lot of that physicality, something you figured you're going to need early this season with Kaylee Mills still on the mend from a broken wrist. So I know it's a loss, but I think a lot of things to take from that the Boomers could take, you know, on into another good Weatherford squad, and then especially next week against Anadarko in the Winter Classic tournament.
Yeah, again, it's kind of one thing that impressed me, and it only makes it better with the way Caitlin showed out tonight, was the fact that when Kaylee's healthy, that's just adding more depth. And I think that's part of what we ran into.
Yep.
Is there just isn't really a lot of depth for the Boomer squad. And, you know, towards the end, started getting tired, leaving open shots, things like that, even when Brown went out with her when she fouled out, you know, but because we were, you know, a little bit slower on defense, things like that. So, you know, that's something you got to watch. And we mentioned it early in the game, was the depth of the Boomers, you know, but the way Caitlin plays, she's somebody you can now rely on when you go to the bench.
Absolutely, and Bradley Douglas Fisher led the way, 17 points, no surprise there for the Boomers. Knew she was going to do her thing. Lexi Mendel had 7 and was the secondary scorer in that. So as we get the boys back on the courts, they're warming up both sides. And Eric, what are some of your keys for the second half for the boys to be able to hold on to this 24-point lead? I would say that's safe, but they had some stretches last year. I think back to the Kingfisher game where you're up, big time double digits in that Winter Classic tournament and let that one slip. So what the boys got to do to make sure they close this one out in the second half, excuse me.
I think and the Boomer boys are kind of in the opposite situation of the girls right now, is they do have some depth, and they have guys that can come off the bench strictly for defensive purposes, that you can trust on the floor defensively. And again, like I said, we've added the score. Since we've added the score, that changes so much for the Boomers. But I think overall, just to kind of maintain where the Boomers are at, they need to just slow down at times. Those are the things that we've seen where, they push it. We saw CP basically run out of his own shoes at one point, and it ended up working out. The Boomers didn't turn it over, but there are times where they get going too fast. And really, that would be kind of the one downside to the way they played in the first half. It's just kind of getting sloppy at times. But
and when we say too fast, it's not necessarily trying to rush decisions. They see the pie, they see what's open, and they think, I got to get there now, or I got to pass it now, and a little bit more seasoning on that, right?
And even on the defensive side, where they'll read things really well. But it's almost like when you try to jump that pass, or you're
too early, baby.
You're running over to guard somebody, or and it's kind of like we talk about football, over pursuing.
Yep.
You see some of that, by the Boomers, but again, that's of the things we have seen tonight. That's kind of been maybe the one downside.
And the Boomers looks like they'll go with their starters from the first half. Back on the floor for the second half. Carter Reed, Connor Price, Caden Gaines, Gage Hutchins, Connor Sunderland. I believe Elk City is going to match with their starters as well. Tucker Garza, Hooper Stover, Cole Bowie, Graham Eastham, and also Damon Jackson, the 5. And it will be the Elks with the first possession. They're going to work right to left in front of us this half. Boomers left to right as we are behind the scorers table overlooking the court. Inbound will go to Jackson to begin the second half. He's double teamed immediately by Reed and Gaines. And Gaines able to poke at it. It's on the ground. It's loose. It's a scuffle. And finally, Eastholm able to take it for Elk City and keep the possession as Bowie has the top of the key picked up by Hutchins. Swings it to Garza on the left side. Elk City again going with that more labored pace. Start the second half. Eastholm right wing. Up to Bowie. Thought about the 3 instead. Leads it back around as they get to Garza in the corner. Has that dribble. And nothing open early for Elk City on this possession. Haven't even penetrated the paint. As they go right wing to Eastholm, he's double teamed by Reed and Gaines. They find Stover. Bouncing it to Bowie, who finally just pulls up for a 3, and that's off the left iron. No good. Rebound by Gaines as Boomers push the other way, leading 36-12, 7-10, third quarter. Price hands off to Hutchins, tries to roll around. Instead, a deep 3 from Sunderland left wing. That's off the right side of the rim. Sunday trying to test his range a little bit. Rebound taken by Bowie in Elk City.
Now, one thing that Elk City does by, this offense, not only it kind of keeps them from getting too gassed, but it also just slows that tempo down, doesn't let the Boomers get too much momentum.
So on the right side for Eastholm, and yes, that absolutely want to try to take away that momentum to the Elks. Bowie double team, feeds it elbow. Eastholm drives, kicks out to Garza right side. He gets baseline, tough shot over Connor Sunderland, rims out. Rebound fought for, they say last touch by Connor Price. So he was trying to fight with Damon Jackson for the ball. So the Elks keep possession. They trail 36-12, 6:32 third quarter. Bowie feeds out in the left corner to Stover. He's poked at, stolen away. It goes to Gaines as Price had a hand in there to initiate the steal. Up to Reed left side. To Hutchins, back to Reed, spin move in the paint, the float, or the jumper, good. Carter Reed, a nice little play there. As he's got 4. Boomers with some pressure in the backcourt as they lead 38-12. Jackson has to pick up his dribble.
That's one area that I think Carter's kind of improved. Is a lot of times last year we'd see him go straight into somebody.
And CP with the quick steal of his own on Jackson, misses it, but Gaines there to finish it off. Go ahead, continue.
We see Carter go straight into somebody to try to get the layup and the foul,
Right.
but he just took what he could get there and did a good job of pulling up, having the touch.
Absolutely. Now pass thrown away by Eastholm as he's double teamed into his own bench. Boomers force another turnover as they lead 40-12 with 5:46 remaining third quarter as Stover checks out. In comes Logan Wynn for Elk City. As the inbounds near the scorer's table go to Connor Price for the Boomers. Top of the key, left wing to Reed. Hands off to Gaines. Thanks about the three. Now picked up by Eastholm. Still has a dribble to work with. Feeds it back to Price, who will reset. Connor Sunderland tries to flash open. Instead, they go left wing to Gaines. Tough leaner over Eastholm and gets it from the extended elbow. Ooh.
Great job though by Caden a little bit before that, where he had an opportunity to take a three, but he wasn't set.
And Elk City breaks the press quickly. Damon Jackson with a quick bucket.
He had an opportunity to take the three, wasn't set, so he pulled it back down and moved the ball around.
42-14 Gaines. A quick pull-up three, right wing just pops out. It rattled around and came out. So still 42-14. Elk City with the board. Bowie has it in the backcourt. Gives it to Jackson. They're still not ahead of the timeline, and they've been a little slow on it. The count close. Jackson finally goes across right side. Has it on the wing, or excuse me, Webb. I apologize. As he's picked up by Hutchins. Hutchins tips the pass, picked off by Price. Ahead to Gaines, looking for another jam, and throws it down one-handed. Took a look around, made sure he was clear for takeoff, and the slam by Gaines is a timeout taken by Coach Foll as the Boomers lead by 30, 44-14 with 4:31 third quarter. Western Drug, 1021 Oklahoma Avenue in Woodward. They've got friendly and caring staff and a drive-through window, which is awfully convenient. Always excellent service as well. Call them 580-256-5586. Salient State Bank, they've got a branch in Woodward. Their new location, 2314 Williams Avenue. Salient State Bank Woodward branch offers full-service banking, whether it's personal checking, savings, home commercial loans, mobile, online banking, as well as wire transfers, and much more. Salient State Bank, Western Drug, powering Boomer Sports this season.
And that was another perfect example of the Boomer defense creating their offense.
And just an easy flush for Gaines. And Hutchins, man, Gates Hutchins. I know we're talking a lot about Caden Gaines, but Gates Hutchins has had a fantastic game thus far. 10 points, some steals. As out of the timeout, Elk City will have it. As Eastholm will take it up the court. For the Elks, goes right wing to Webb. It's Jackson who's trying to flash open the paint right side, goes through some traffic, puts it off the glass and in. Damon Jackson with the bucket. He's got 5. 44-16. Boomers back the other way. Free throw line to Sunderland. Top the key to Reed. Wants the screen now. Gets it. Sunderland tries to roll. Nothing open. Finds the ball goes to Laredo right corner. So reset top key. Now back over to Sunderland. Left wing to Graff. Left corner. Up top, Gaines launches another three. Nothing but net. They were too slow to him. Caden Gaines ripping the nets with 26 points of the Boomer 46.
Yeah, that's the impressive thing about Caden. People listen, hey, he's hitting all these threes. The kid is listed at 6'7".
Yeah.
He's not a small guy.
And he keeps growing. He was 6'5", about 6'5" over the summer, and is keep growing. And it's still now by Jake Graff on the other end. He'll fly in for the layup left side and good. And the Boomer defense just pouring it on now. Graff with 3. The Boomers lead 48-16.
Yeah, I think they
counted it a 2 instead of a 3 for Gaines.
On Gaines, I think the expectation is for him to be about 6'9", 6'10" by the time he's done.
It's crazy. They did, for some reason, count a 2 on that last shot for Gaines, or maybe I was just off one somewhere. Anyways, Elk City the other way. Garza can't quite put it in. Connor Sunderland with the board. He's running to the break as they flip it to Graff, left corner. Pumps, drives, the little floater, gets it down, and the foul. Nice move from Jake Graff along the left baseline. So he's got 5, and will go to the line for more. So it should be 25 points for Caden Gaines is what they've got.
And and that's the thing about the Boomers is, we know that that Caden's going to be able to put up his points this year, but they've got to have balanced scoring.
Yeah.
from other guys on the floor. And tonight, we're seeing that.
And to that point, we mentioned Gage Hutchins with 10, Graff now with 5, and really, you got 4 or 5 guys that don't have points in this game that can go get buckets that we know of, right? Think about a Connor Price. Think about Aaron Laredo.
I think they're checking the score. Maybe where the...
Yeah, because I had it for a 3, and so it should be 51-16. But I wasn't going to argue with the scorekeeper. Foul, by the way, was on Logan Webb. Now they're looking at the Woodward books. So I'm going to quietly put that 3 back on the board for Gaines and hope that they correct it as they check with the scorers table. I think it should be 51-16. They're talking about this over a point discrepancy.
Yeah, but they're comparing the books.
Yeah, you want to make sure you get it right, for sure. M&D Enterprises is the lawnmower shop for your best lawn, porch, or patio. M&D and the lawnmower shop are your people. They carry everything you need to make your greenscape that little piece of heaven you've always dreamed of. Locations: Woodward, Canton, and Weatherford. Also, Smith & Co. Auction and Really, Oklahoma's real estate and land auction experts. Smith & Co. is your #1 choice for all your land auctions and real estate needs. 580-254-3975. Email smithcorealestate.com.
Here's the deal about when you go and, kind of have to confer and check kind of bring the books together. Ultimately, it comes down to it's the home book. That is the official score. So if
it's good to know, I did not know that.
If the discrepancy cannot be found, the referees ultimately can decide with the home team. But
okay, so it looks like that may be the case. So they're leaving the 50 on the board. Unfortunate.
Now Coach Gaines getting her explanation from the official.
Boomers do lead 50-16, 2:54 remaining third quarter. As now we're ready for the and one free throw from Jay Graff. He got fouled left baseline after making a floater. That was on Logan Webb. Graff on the free throw. That one's too strong. Plays off the back iron. Rebound taken by Webb, and Eastholm will push the other way for Elk City. Going right to left across the timeline. Working along Rado. Nice crossover. Feeds it to Mong in the left wing. He picks up his dribble. Long pass. In danger. Cole Reed, who's just checked into the game for the first time, steals it and gets the easy layup. Talk about another kid who's growing. Talking with Carter. He's like, Cole has just shot up over the summer, and he has. That is more long and lanky.
That's one thing that my wife has said multiple times is, have you seen how tall Cole is?
Yeah.
There's another brother sitting down there, Crosby, who's also been shooting up. So there's plenty of reads to go around for a few years.
That's right. Carter, of course, senior. Great work by him last year, and he'll get his time this year, but Cole going to be promising as well. As Elk City the other way, working on the baseline. Eastholm trying to get around Connor Sunderland. It looks like they'll get Sunderland for his third foul of the game with a bit of a block. 52-16, Boomers on top, 2:05 third quarter.
Yeah, I think that was the right call. Sunderland was, he's playing pretty good defense overall, but he kept kind of bumping him with the body a little bit. And once he made that move to the basket, they're going to make that call.
And Sunderland checks out for Washington. Jake Graff. Oh, watch out, cheerleader. Graff accidentally just spiked a pass attempt right at a cheerleader. She's down. I think she'll be all right. That was just quick and sudden. Obviously not intentional by Graff.
Knocked it down right into her face.
Ouch. Yeah, she's going to have to step out for a second, catch a breather on that one. Ouch. All right, so Oak City with the possession still is Jackson. Top of the key, goes left wing to Eastholm. Up to Webb, trying to drive, had some screens right side, swatted by Gaines late. That one was close. Gaines, another swat attempt. No, they say, okay, stepped out of bounds. The swat was clean on Jackson, but stepped out of bounds with the possession. Back-to-back block attempts by Gaines.
That first one was really close to a goaltending.
It was right on the edge.
We'll take it.
Yeah, right on the edge. We'll give him a block and a half for that.
You can do that like a sack. You get a half a sack. You get half a block.
Maybe one day. As Elk City still with possession. Eastholm high left wing. Boomers lead 52-16. And now still again by Cole Reed on pass attempt to Jackson. Reed with another. Oh, trying to go for the dunk. He's trying to stretch out that length. Couldn't do it. Dunk attempt no good. It's Cole Reed still with 2 points. Elk City back with it. Eastholm guarded by Graff. Now works the right corner. Webb takes the three in rhythm. That one's strong though. Rebounded on the backside by Bong.
I think Coach Gaines let him know if you're gonna dunk you, make sure you make it.
That's right. And a pass and a foul as Jackson worked it right wing to Eastholm and bumped by Jake Graff. A little too physical for him. His first foul. Second team foul for the Boomers. As Colt Moeller will check out Caden Gaines. So Gaines goes to the bench with 25 in his varsity debut. Still third quarter. Has a chance to add on to it. Boomers those lead 52-16. Minute 5 remaining in the frame. As Eastholm far side trying to find somebody to pass it into. Nobody's there. And it's a 5-second call. Boomers well covered defensively.
Yeah. That's so, kind of, three of these guys on the floor, I had a couple years ago in 8th grade. And, that team was last year, the middle school team or the 8th grade team were putting up a lot of points. This class, they didn't put up a lot of points. But man, their defense was really good, and they were really quick, and they were really smart. And I think you're seeing that right now.
As it's inbounded from Cole Reed to Jay Graff. Top of the key, hands off right wing to Moore. Hits Reed, who was flashing into the paint right block. The pull-up jumper just rims out. Rebound taken by Elk City. And Elijah Gillens, who's making his first appearance tonight. Elk City the other way. Eastholm driving left wing, and he's to the block and fouled on the shot attempt. As Cole Reed a little bit too much there trying to block the shot. So the Graham Eastholm to the free throw line. First foul on Cole Reed. Boomers still lead 52-16 with 46 seconds remaining third quarter. Eastholm's first free throw is good. Easton's first points of the night. That is crazy. Second free throw, that one rattles in as well. Freshman who figures to be big for Elk City throughout his time. Laredo will swing it over left corner to Moore, top key to Washington. Now Laredo flashes open for a left wing three. That just rims out, rebounded by Gillens, the senior. As Elk City back the other way with 30 seconds remaining third quarter.
And a lot of Easton, kind of being shut down. It goes back to how well Caden played on defense, because he was on him most of the night.
And now Laredo pickpockets Easton at the top of the key. Laredo driving one-on-one, puts up layup foul as Easton didn't want him to have the easy bucket. That'll be Easton's first foul. And it'll be Laredo to the line for 2 free throws. No points so far on the night for Laredo, but a chance to get on the board here. A couple shots. Couple dribbles, puts up the first, that rattles in. Looks like Washington will check out and give way to...
Is that Mason Bourne?
Mason Bourne, the senior, getting his first action in basketball for the high school side. Second free throw for Laredo, falls as well. 2 points for him. Bourne coming back to basketball after a little hiatus, if you will, in his career.
I tried everything I could to talk him into playing last year, and
he wouldn't do it.
Up until the last week, he was still thinking about it. But
Bowie, top of the key for Elk City. A deep three to end the third quarter, and that's off the mark, off the side, no good. And that will end the third as the Boomers lead 54-18 after 3. We'll step aside, come back with the fourth. You're listening to Boomer Basketball on Z92 and Boomer TV.
Feel safe and secure with Arlo Wireless Outdoor Camera, available at Pioneer. Arlo offers top-notch protection with crystal clear video quality, rain or shine. Monitor your home from anywhere with remote smartphone access. Whether you're at home or on the go, Arlo keeps you connected to what matters most. Trust Arlo and Pioneer to keep your home safe and secure. Visit GoPioneer.com to get your Arlo wireless cameras today.
While tackling endless to-do list every day may seem like a thankless job, but you know better. It's the little things that matter most. That's why you appreciate the enduring value of the Michelin Defender tire. designed for doers like you. Michelin's longest-lasting tire keeps you on the go longer, so you have one less thing to worry about on your next road trip. Stop in today for miles of uncompromised safety and performance. Visit your local Michelin dealer, High Plains Tire, at 2220 Main in Woodward.
Back for the fourth quarter, and Woodward lead. Gains the freshman 25 so far in this one. It's Mason Boring. The far side will inbound for the Boomers to begin the fourth quarter. Gives it to Price. They work it to Reed. Now the corner to Boring. Goes left elbow. Washington with a pull-up jumper. That's off. Rebound though by Boring. Puts up on second chance. No good. Third attempt. He is fouled.
Yeah,
Goes to the free throw line.
we saw that, Mason's not afraid to take shots and things like that during football season. And, right there, he's not afraid to go in there and get rebounds.
He, for as chill of a kid as he is, laid back at times, he flips the switch when he gets on the corner of the field. When he comes to football, he wants to be out there and get physical. That's why he loves that defensive side of the ball. And I'm sure it'll be no different on the first free throw, though. A bit short. Realizing he put maybe a little more leg into it. Second free throw, a couple of dribbles. That one just off the front iron as well. Rebound fought for, eventually comes down to Elk City. As it will be Cameron Nicholson taking it. And he'll feed ahead to Eastham. Back over to Nicholson, top of the key. Right wing to Keys. Double zero is Keys, guarded by zero. Carter Reed. Drive by Keys, loses the handle on the layup attempt.
Oh.
Whoa. They let that stay with Elk City, and I'm assuming they said that Washington touched it, but it looked like Keys was the last to touch it. Nonetheless, Elk City with the possession still as Eastham below the left block, looking inbound. Boring, putting the hands up on the baseline. Finally just has to throw it up high to Nicholson. Top of the key, goes to Vaughn, right wing. Back up top to Keys, as primarily the second and third unit in Elk City at this point. Eastham the only starter out there right now. So he's got a left wing guarded by Boring. He's over to Vaughn. Right side to Keys. Elk City being patient. 7:08 remaining in the game, and looks like an offensive foul on Elk City. Oh no,
No,
on
it's
Boomers. Sorry.
yeah, it's gonna be
It's
a-
on Boring. They got
That's going to be a Washington. Yeah,
okay.
they got Washington. Somebody's trying to fight for a screen, and he kind of pushed him.
So that's his first foul, first of the quarter for the Boomers. Elk City again with the inbound. Has to go out to Keys, high top of the key. As Reed able to play tight defense. Reed able to poke at it. It's on the floor. Can't quite grab it. And it goes out of bounds off the Boomers. Reed a little frustrated with himself. Thought he had the steal, couldn't quite get it.
Yeah, he knew right away that was going to be out on him.
Boomers still lead 54-18. 6:58 remaining in the ballgame. As it'll be Eastham next to his own bench inbounding on the scorer's table side. Goes it out of the backcourt to Nicholson, who's picked up by Carter Price. Across the timeline is Nicholson. Price trying to poke at him one-on-one. He loses the handle, was able to get it over to Eastham, who's immediately double-teamed high left wing by Price and Boring. Has to pick up his dribble near the timeline. Still looking for somebody. Finds Long. Tries to drive. Flips over to Gillen's. Pass stolen by Sunderland on its way there, but Sunderland dribbles it off his foot. Nobody realized it was even on the ground. Finally, Eastham picks it up. Left wing Nicholson with it.
Playing soccer, it went off Sonny's foot, and then it got kicked on the other end. Now we got to steal again.
And Washington with the steal, and just tries to tackle Long as Washington lost the handle, tried to take it himself the other way. Both players to the floor. Washington will pick up his second foul.
Yeah, I think Isaiah was more reaching for the ball, kind of reached around.
I clarified as a tackle.
Yeah.
That's probably not exactly.
Well,
it looked like
it looked like a tackle, but it was definitely him going for the ball, kind of in a very unconventional way of going for the ball.
It was an unintentional tackle.
Yes.
Call of that. As Gillens will check out for Elk City. He'll give way to Kai Brandt. Elk City with the possession, left wing, and Eastholm trying to get past Keys, can't handle it, and it's out of bounds, back to the Boomers.
New Boomer on the floor, I believe for the first time tonight. Jesse Treese comes in for Isaiah Washington.
So Washington does go to the bench. It's Price across timeline, right wing. Sunderland, who tries to throw it down to Boring, and a little miscommunication and a pass a bit high. Warren thought he was going to be a little bit more outside on the pass. It was pretty much straight at the basket. So back to Elk City. We're still leading 54-18. 6 minutes even remains in the game. Keys goes left wing to Eastern. Nicholson top of the key. Back right side. Look at the ball at the elbow. Tries to turn a little right-handed floater. That's off the mark. Rebounded by Treese. Feeds ahead to Price. Zips it up to Carter Reed on the baseline. It will back out. Over to Price. Right wing for three, and that rattles in. Connor Price gets him one finally. He's got three. Boomers make it 57-18 with 5:20 remaining in the game. Keys with it for Elk City, and he's just easily stolen away by Carter Reed on the pass. Trying to drive one-on-one. Reed just lets it blow by, and a left-handed layup rattles in. Now the Boomers trying to effectively hit this one.
Yeah, that's one thing is if you're kind of a little lackadaisical coming up the floor, Carter's gonna pick it.
59-18, Boomers lead. Reed again pressuring Keys, top of the key. Left wing to East, up to Nicholson. Picked up by Reed. He's playing some switch. As a go-to right corner, Keys for the three, bit of a fadeaway. That's off the mark. Rebound can't be saved by Brock for Elk City. And it's back to the Boomers. They go up a whole fresh 5.
Now the Boomers have 3 sophomores and 2 freshmen on the floor.
We got some numbers that I don't have, so I got to pull up because we have a discrepancy in some rosters.
So we got Cole Reed, Crosby Reed, Jesse Treese. Let's see who am I missing? Grayson Roach and Luke Talley on the floor for the
There
Boomers.
you go. And it would be Treese on the 3 right corner. That's off the mark. Rebound tips.
Luke Talley with the rebound. He tries to put it back up.
And he's tied up. Possession arrow goes to Elk City. Playing all the youngins. And that's the thing. Boomers could have won this game with 80, 85 points. Coach Gaines kind of waving that flag early.
Yeah,
You got a big matchup with Weatherford coming. Don't want to expend too much here. Don't need to. Keys the other way for Elk City and flying in and a foul.
I think the only thing I kind of wish that she would have left Carter out there, because then you would have all 3 Reed boys,
Right.
all 3 brothers on the floor at the same time. We're hoping that happens at some point this season.
I think it will. I think you'll see that at some point.
I think that's kind of Mama Reed's dream right now.
There you go. Still got to be cool for her seeing all her boys playing. And Dorsey, as Keys' first free throw is off the mark. Really good. So it remains 59-18 Boomers lead. 4:22 remaining in the game.
And actually looking down there, that is the full Boomer roster that's
Yep.
on the floor.
So everybody got to play tonight. Nothing wrong with that. As another free throw attempt for Keys. This one does fall. They'll split the pair. Keys with the point. Boomers the other way. On the right wing in the corner. He'll take it to Treese. Swing around. Cole Reed launches the 3 left corner. That's too strong. Rebound taken by Elk City. Was fighting between themselves on it. As Nicholson had it, Keys tried to swat it away from his own teammate. Boomers get the possession. They lead 59-19, 4:08 remaining in the game. 40-point advantage for the Boomers. Treese inbounds top of key. 3 on the way straight away. That's too strong. Cole Reed, though, with the rebound. Swing it over right side. Now the quarterback to Treese. In the left corner. Just trying to work that offense. A running floater, and that goes down. Oh, they call an offensive foul. So basket no good for the Boomers.
Good job by Luke, though, to recognize that he had an opportunity to tip that in. He's pretty good at that little floater. And, converted, just unfortunately was called for the foul.
So, Elk City back the other way. Keys trying to attempt to pass. Reed steals it. It was intended for Gillums, and Reed this time just with the nice, easy layup.
Yeah, that's Cole's 3rd steal, just like that, too, where he just kind of jumps it.
Just a free breakaway. He's got 4. Boomers make it 61-19 with 3:25 remaining. Keys right wing, top of the key to Gillens. Left side. They'll work it over to Poole. Colin Poole seeing his first time tonight. Find Nicholson on the right wing, trying to get some screens set up. Not much there as Gillens just flips it back to Keys. 3 minutes even remains in the game. Boomers lead 61-19. Top of the key for Elk Elk City. Roth with it, trying to pass, initially batted by Treese. Come back up with it. Keys trying to cross over. Top of the key, not much there. This is waiting on some trees now. Back cut by Nicholson. Reed on the defense. Wild shot by Nicholson. Rebounded by Gillens underneath, who sticks the layup. Elijah Gillens with his first basket. And a timeout taken by Coach Gaines with 2:37 remaining. Boomers lead 61-21. Great Plains Bank, Heritage, Trust, Respect. Those are the things that make Great Plains Bank great. With deep roots across Oklahoma and Texas, they are in touch with the communities in which their customers live and work. Compass Athletics, from sports equipment to championship trophies and everything in between. Visit 2024 Main Street in Woodward or call 580-256-7045. And R5 Customer Authority, when you work with R5, you count on a quick, fun, and durable process with results that consistently exceed expectations. Come chat with your screen printing experts or visit 817 Main Street Woodward or call 580-256-3579. R5, Compass, and Great Plains powering Boomer Sports this season. As out of the timeout, Boomers with possession as they'll have it top of the key. Carter Reed is in there. I think Kayla heard you please. No, they don't have all the reads in there. As a shot by Colt Moore. That one a bit long from the left wing.
No, all three reads are in there right now.
Okay. Okay. I thought, okay. So there you go. We're getting it first game of the season. Triple reads.
Mama Reed got it right away.
Yep. As on the right side, Keys with it for Elk City. They trail 61-21. Gillens left wing over to Poole. They just work back up to Brock. And now that pass stolen by Cole Reed. Flips ahead to Carter Reed. And the key to Bourne. Turns around, puts up the left side jumper. That's off the mark on the left side. And then he gets the foul. He goes, ah.
Yeah, he knew it.
He knew it. It's Mason Bourne's first foul of the game. 15 foul. Yeah, I think they're saying that should be free throws. That's the fifth foul.
That's fifth foul.
Should be some free throws. Western Drug, 1021 Oklahoma Avenue in Woodward. They've got friendly, caring staff in the drive-thru window. That is really convenient. Always excellent service as well. Call 580-256-5586. Western Drug, powering Boomer Sports this season. As Gillens goes to the line. 54 remaining in the game. Boomers on top. 61-21. First free throw from Gillens. Too strong. Still has just 2 points on the night. Boomer Boys going to advance to 1-0 on the season. Again, we'll have a matchup with Weatherford Friday night, as will the girls. Second free throw on the way from Gillens. That flanks off the left side. Rebound though taken by Nicholson. It's an offensive board for Elk City. Keys top of the key. On the dribble, guarded tightly by Cole Reed. Pokes at him. Another steal by Reed. Oh, he gets chased out of bounds. Couldn't quite corral it. And go back to Elk City. He's trying to argue that it was the last touch by Keys. Not the case. The officials. So Elk City essentially keeps possession. Minute 40 remaining in the game as they trail 61-21. Drew Keys, right wing, picked up by Colt Moore. Dribbles up to the top. Tight on him defensively. Bounces the pass to Poole on the right wing. Up top to Gillens. And now pass picked off this time by Moore. It was intended for Keys. Moore trying to get a high layup and he misses it. I think he thought about the dunk. Reed though able to get the board as it was poked out to him. Just a nice up and under for the basket as he found himself underneath the rim. Carter Reed with 8 points.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what Colt was thinking. I mean, he's kind of laughing a little bit now.
He was thinking dunk.
He wanted to, and then he talked himself out of it about halfway up. So
that's not necessarily the best time to do that. Elk City back with it as the Boomers lead 63-21. 105 left in the game. Keys.
Hey, my starters are on floor.
There you go. Another pass bad, this time back to Graff. To Cole Reed, back to Graff. Right side for the layup, too strong. Rebound underneath by Treese, tries to float it up. That's off the mark. Rebound taken by Gillens of Elk City's double team though, and Graff almost able to steal it, flow it back, but they say he's out of bounds. Silly State Bank now with the branch in Woodward. Their new location, 2314 Williams Avenue. Silly State Bank Woodward branch offers full service banking, including personal checking, savings, home and commercial loans, mobile and online banking, wire transfers, and much more. So it's a big parent Boomer Sports this season. Elk City with it. 35 seconds remains in the game. Keys just trying to hold up top as the Boomers lead 63-21 over the Elks. Keys now trying to drive right side. He slips, loses his footing, and it's out of bounds to the Boomers. Keys a bit frustrated with himself there.
Yeah, I think overall Elk City's just a little frustrated right now because the Boomers are still, even in the half court, putting on a lot of pressure. But yeah, especially the first game of the season, you can't let up. You just got to continue to play your game.
And it's not like it's the starters. It's all the young guys. Cole Reed left corner with it. It's top to Keita Moore. 10 seconds to Treese. Swinger out to Talley. Molly Grab's just going to hold with 6. Down to the final few seconds. Talley thinks about it, doesn't shoot it. Treese is going to shoot it at the buzzer. That rims out, and that's the ball game. The Boomers come away with a big win at Elk City to start the season on the boys' side. 63-21, your final. We'll step aside for a break and come back with the post game. You're listening to Boomer Basketball on Z92 and Boomer TV.
Life never stops moving. Between the 30-minute commutes, daycare pickups, and that weekend trip to Grandma's, you're racking up the miles. What you need is a tire that can keep up, like the exceptionally long-lasting Michelin Defender tire. With an 80,000-mile warranty and the safety you expect, you can lose track of the miles and focus on what really matters, the memories made along the way. Stop in today at 2220 Main in Woodward to see your local Michelin dealer, Pipelines Tire.
This back-to-school season, give your home the connection it deserves with Go Pioneer Fiber Internet. Experience the power of Wi-Fi 6 technology for smoother streaming, gaming, and learning. And with the Go Pioneer Smart Wi-Fi app, managing your home network is a breeze. Choose from multiple plans with symmetrical speeds for lightning-fast uploads and downloads. Get your family school ready with Go Pioneer Fiber Internet. Sign up today at gopioneer.com.
As Woodward the 63-21 win over Elk City tonight on the boys' side. The girls, of course, we touched on earlier, did fall a bit short against a good Elk City team, 44-38. But looking at the stats, you got to start with freshman Kate Gaines, 25 points in his debut for varsity. Made 3 threes, had a couple dunks, and was really impressive overall. As for the rest of the Boomers, Gates Hutchins, a great performance from him, 10 points, multiple steals, 8 points on the night for Carter Reed. 5 from Jake Graff, 4 apiece from Cole Reed, Isaiah Washington. You get 3 from Connor Price, 2 from Aaron Laredo, as well as Connor Sunderland. Boomer scores the night for Elk City, leading them in scoring. Damon Jackson ultimately with 5, and Cole Bowie with 5, 4 from Tucker Garza, couple apiece from Graham Eastham, Hooper Stover, Elijah Gillens, and 1 from Crew Keys. So only 5 points on the night for Cole Bowie. That in of itself is really impressive.
Yeah, I think that, that just shows how tough, this Boomer defense is. And, I think it's kind of the real test, obviously, is going to come Friday night yeah. when they go up against a incredibly good Weatherford team. But, just you can't, if you're Coach Gaines, you got a few things you can work on and fix. But, overall, you just got to feel confident and impressed with how game 1 went.
That is for sure. As Boomers, like I said, on the boys' side, 1-0 on the season. The girls 0-1. A couple things ahead for Boomer Sports this week. We mentioned Boomer Coaches Show. We'll be back tomorrow at Long Shots. We'll kind of break that back in after a little bit of a hiatus in between football and basketball season. That will be starting at 6 o'clock on Z92. And then Boomer Wrestling Thursday night hosting their first duel of the season. So come check that out. Boomer Fieldhouse, 6 o'clock start time. That is middle school and high school together against Watonga. Mentioned the basketball teams on the road Friday night against Weatherford. A couple really good Weatherford squads. Going to be some good tests for the Boomers there. On the K101 side, road to the top coverage. There'll be Laverne Dewar Thursday afternoon for the Class B Division I title. Friday night, Sealing coming to Douglas and Cashin for the Class B Division II semifinals. Winner moves on to the finals next week. A couple score updates tonight as far as other action. We mentioned the OU men's squad was taking on Georgia Tech in the SEC ACC Challenge. OU undefeated, ranked 21st, 7-0 on the season. The Sooners right now in the second half with 10 minutes remaining lead Georgia Tech 51-45 in a good game there. On the NBA side, the Thunder absolutely racing the Utah Jazz 133-106 tonight in a group play game. And with all that said, of course, I want to thank Stanley State, M&D Enterprises and the Lawnmower Shop for your best lawn, porch, or patio. M&D Enterprises and the Lawnmower Shop are people. They carry everything you need to make your greenscape that little piece of heaven you've always dreamed of. Locations in Woodward, Canton, and Weatherford. Also, Smith & Co. Auction and Realty, Oklahoma's real estate and land auction experts. Smith & Co. is your #1 choice for all your land auctions and real estate needs. Call 580-254-3975 or email ira@smithcorealestate.com. Smith Co. M&D, powering Boomer Sports all season long, as well as Pioneer, Jess Wells Chevrolet, and Shattuck, Bank of Western Oklahoma, and High Plains Tire. And Eric, before we close, do want to get to our players of the game for the girls and the boys. I think pretty easy choices. Bradley Douglas Fisher for the girls with her 17, and Kate Gaines, the freshman, and we get with 25. Those are your players of the game. The Bank of Western Oklahoma players of the game. Bank of Western Oklahoma goes beyond banking. No matter where you are, the Bank of Western Oklahoma is always close. Find a location near you at bankofwesternoklahoma.com. Got to thank everybody for tuning in tonight, whether you watched on Boomer TV, listened on Z92. Got to thank Boomer TV crew, Chris Godwin, and the students for coming with us up to Elk City. They'll have you Friday night as well. Eric, phenomenal job as always. We forced you into a little bit of play-by-play as well. We appreciate you for that. Try and get you a little warmed up for Friday night. You and Ely will do a fantastic job. I am sure of that. Definitely got to thank Sean Kelly back in the studio. As always, Trooper, could not do it without Mr. Kelly. I promise you, folks, these stations will not run without Sean Kelly. Well, with that said, we'll catch you tomorrow night for the Boomer Coaches Show. The Boomer boys 1-0 on the season. The girls 0-1. Have a good night, everybody.
You've been listening to Woodward Boomer Sports.